Bésame, bésame mucho. Each time I cling to your kiss, I hear music divine. Bésame, bésame mucho.
Almost finished, Steiner?
Yeah, just one more line. Hold me, my darling, and tell me that you will be mine.
That's very good.
Yeah. You ain't gonna have any more problems with this striker plate.
Good.
I tell you, Miss Romano, you know, a good handyman, he's worth his weight in gold, you know. We fix problems. Sometimes these things need a little time to break in, you know. They have a little problem sometimes with breaking in it, but you... Where'd you get this door from, The Exorcist?
What's with you?
Yeah, what'd you get, kicked off the wrestling team?
No. What's the matter? Higher education getting you down?
Just government.
Well, most Americans feel that way.
I mean my government class.
Wait a minute, I thought that was your favorite.
It was, until I did this paper on the legal system.
Hey, now, wait a minute. I read that paper. And I thought it was terrific.
So did I. Oh, well, I happened to see an extra copy in the trash, you know. It brought tears to my eyes. Of course, it was laying there right next to the onions.
Too bad you weren't giving out the grades.
D?
Could be that it stands for delightful.
Oh, no, there's got to be a mistake here someplace. This is a very well-thought-out paper.
I know, I was so proud of it.
Well, I think you ought to talk to your professor about it.
Sure. What kind of a guy is he?
Well, he's real nice. Everybody likes him.
Well, there you go. Bring him an apple. And a bottle of bourbon.
Am I late?
I'm late.
Well, you'll just have to forgive me. You know how we professors are, absent-minded. I drove halfway here before I realized I'd forgotten my car keys. You can laugh. That's my icebreaker.
Oh.
Sorry about being late.
It's okay. I forgive you, mainly because I need a favor.
Terrific. What can I do for you?
Well, it's about my paper on the legal system.
You didn't like the grade I gave you.
How did you know?
You'd be surprised how few students come in here to thank me for a D.
Professor, I don't think I deserved a D. Look, I have a B+ average in your class. I know that reading list backwards and forwards. I knocked myself out on this paper.
Maybe I goofed.
I practically lived in a library. Maybe you what?
Goofed. Look, I know I appear to be perfect, but...
You're only human?
Well, that's off the record, of course.
Of course.
I was grading those papers late at night. Maybe I lost my concentration. Why don't I look at it again?
Now?
Anything to get that grief-stricken look off your face. Now, that's more like it.
Dennis, I can't meet you tonight. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were busy.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, Barbara.
Is it something important, Sylvia? I am busy.
Well, no, Professor Barr, I guess it can wait.
Fine.
It's just that...
Why don't you call the department secretary and make an appointment, huh?
Appointment? Yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, bye, Sylvia.
One thing I like about Sylvia, she always shuts the door. You've got a nice smile.
Oh, well, thank you.
Now, about this paper. I'll just skim it, okay? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-oh. Uh-huh. Uh-oh.
I can't stand it. Which one is it? Uh-huh or uh-oh?
Relax. So far, so good.
Really?
I can see you've done a lot of research on this paper.
Oh, I did. I stayed home 2 weekends in a row.
2 whole weekends, huh? How'd you keep the boys away?
Oh, well, I took the phone off the hook.
That wouldn't have stopped me. Well, what I mean is, if I was dating a pretty girl like you, I'd really pursue her.
Oh. About the paper?
Well, Barbara, this could be a B or maybe even a B+.
You think so?
Sure. All it needs is a little extra effort.
Oh, Professor, I'm willing to do anything.
I thought you'd feel that way. And I'll help you to achieve your goal.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
It'll be my pleasure. And I hope it'll be your pleasure, too.
What are you doing?
What do you think I'm doing?
Well, you're squeezing my shoulders.
You don't mind, do you?
Professor Barr, is this a pass?
Well, better to pass than to fail.
You mean that you want me to... And that if I don't, that you won't...
Did I say that?
Well, you implied it.
Or maybe you inferred it. How you interpret that is up to you. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Hiya, good looking.
Oh, Mom!
What's the matter?
I'm gonna kill him.
What did I do?
Oh, not you, Schneider.
Then why did you abuse my broom? I couldn't give this to a little witch.
Sweetheart, what's going on?
I went to see Professor Barr.
Uh-oh. He wouldn't change your grade.
Oh, sure.
Great!
He'll change my grade.
Great!
If I sleep with him.
That's great. Great.
He said that?
He didn't leave any doubt about it.
Bastard.
She's only a little girl.
Oh, I'm not a little girl anymore.
Oh, God, we're too late.
Sweetheart, are you okay?
I will be after 3 or 4 showers. He touched my hair. He squeezed my shoulders.
What a rat creep. I want to tell you, it makes my blood boil just to think of his slimy, scaly hands touching you, squeezing you, caressing you, patting you.
Schneider.
I'm sorry, I lost my hand.
The whole thing is absolutely insane. Professor Barr has this terrific reputation. Student body's supposed to love him.
Not this student body. Oh, I just want to forget the whole thing.
Well, I don't think you should.
What am I supposed to do?
File a complaint.
I can't do that.
Well, honey, you can't let him get away with it. How do you know that you're the only one? I really think you should report him.
You listen to your mom, kid. This is no laughing matter. I remember once I was harassed. She was 22, I was 16.
Well, did you file a complaint?
I didn't realize I was being harassed. I thought I was getting lucky. The thing is, you never know about people. I mean, I remember little Herbert Bixby down at the lodge. A nice, quiet, sweet little guy. He was the lodge treasurer for 5 years. Then one day, he shows up missing. Guess what was missing with him?
The money?
Charlie Hoffman's wife.
You have got to call him on it.
Oh, Charlie called him. He thanked him, actually.
I am talking about Professor Barr.
Oh, Mom, what's the use? He'll just deny the whole thing.
Okay, so it'll be your word against his.
I rest my case.
Scared, aren't you?
Oh, petrified. It's so unfair. I mean, I didn't do one thing, not one thing to encourage him.
See, the thing is that sometimes just being a woman turns a guy on.
That is no excuse for getting out of line.
Hey, don't yell at me. I agree with you. But the fact is, the female of the species do attract the male of the species. I mean, that's the general plan, and thus forever was it spake. You can tell a difference right from birth. I mean, you take a little boy baby. A little boy baby, when he cries, you go, yeah, yeah, yeah. But a little girl baby, when she cries, she goes, oh, but
Schneider, are you trying to defend Professor Barr?
Oh, of course not, that creep. He's got no right to threaten a woman. That's not the way you play the game.
The game?
You know what I'm talking about. The challenge is to get a woman's eyes and lips saying yes, yes at the same time.
Schneider, we are not playing a game.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, then how come women invented high heels? I'll tell you why. To make their calves look better. Why their calves? I'll answer why their calves. To make their thighs look better. Now we're getting somewhere. Why do you think they... All right, look, kid, I know where your frustration is coming from, but, I mean, that's just the way things are. You know, the fiddler plays a tune, the woman gives out vibes, the men bang the drums, and the piper pays a price.
I'm filing a complaint.
Good for you.
I don't care what happens. I'm gonna nail that jerk.
What made her change her mind?
Hello? Yeah, this is Barbara Cooper. What? Is that the way you get your kicks?
Hi.
Bug off, creep.
Is that your way of telling me you're cutting the apron strings?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. It's just another weirdo on the phone. I'm beginning to wish that I never filed this complaint against Professor Barr.
Well, nobody said it was going to be easy.
Made the school paper.
Oh, yeah? What does it say?
No.
Headlines. Co-ed fingers top prof on sex charge, grievance committee to hear case.
I'm notorious, and I didn't even do anything. People stare at me in the halls. I went in to check a problem with my economics teacher. He told me to leave the door open. I get obscene phone calls.
Hello? Oh, my God. No, I don't like ducks.
This is so unfair. Some jerk harasses me, I report it, and what do I get? More harassment.
Okay, ladies, okay. I have here the solution to your obscene phone call problem.
What is that?
This here is an air horn. One blast of this into the phone and you scramble his eggs for a month. But you gotta be careful. These things are very dangerous.
What really hurts is I thought more people would be on my side. A lot of them don't even believe me. A college professor would never do that. But the one I really hate is, after all, Barbara, boys will be boys. It's so frustrating.
It's wrong. It's stupid. It's totally unfair.
I really hope that you nail this guy.
Oh, it's not going to be easy. It'll be his word against mine. No evidence, no witnesses.
Fingerprints?
Sylvia!
Anne.
No, Sylvia from government class. She walked in when the professor and I were...
Barbara, you have no proof that anything happened between me and Professor Barr.
I know. I don't have any proof. Just like I don't have any proof that Professor Barr harassed me, but he did.
And who's gonna believe you? He's the most popular teacher on campus.
Sylvia, if the two of us come forward, we've really got a case.
Barbara, I'm sorry. I just can't help you.
Because nothing happened or because you're scared?
Let me ask you something, huh? Did you sleep with him?
Are you kidding? I'm not that stupid. Well, I am. Oh, well, maybe frightened is a better word.
No, look, I'm a senior, and I'm not doing very well. I've got to have those grades to graduate. If I hadn't gone along with Barr, everything I've worked for could have gone right down the drain. Look, if I thought we had a chance...
We do, if we back each other up.
Oh, Barbara, I don't know. I just want to graduate and get on with my life.
And to hell with the next girl that comes along.
Well, nobody helped me.
Sylvia, the man's a lech.
I know.
Then wouldn't it be great to stop him?
It'd be wonderful.
Then you're gonna help me? Please?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
Well, did you talk to Sylvia?
Yes, I did. She's scared, but she agreed to come and testify with me tomorrow.
Oh, that is terrific.
In fact, she's coming over here tonight to talk it over.
Good for her. He was giving her bad grades, too, huh?
No, Mom. He was giving her A's.
Okay, you guys. You ready for this? Guess who's here?
Who?
Professor Prevert.
Professor Barr is here?
That bum was trying to find out your apartment number.
Well, what's he doing here?
Trying to get out of the elevator. I got him stuck between the third and the fourth floor.
I wonder what he wants.
Maybe he wants to capitulate.
Not in my elevator.
Well, I think we better hear what he has to say.
I'll go get him.
Good.
Oh, I don't know if I want to see him.
I know that I would like to.
No, Mom, I don't want you starting anything.
Honey, maybe he's heard about Sylvia.
You think so?
I don't know. Something's gotten him over here. Maybe he's a little worried.
Okay, Bob, right in here and no fast moves, huh? Because I am watching you from the get-go.
Hello, Barbara.
Professor, this is my mother, Ms. Romano.
Professor?
Hello. I came over because I wanted to talk to you.
You got 3 minutes. 1001, 1000, 1000.
Schneider,
Too slow?
could you just leave us alone?
Okay. But if I hear one scream, I'm coming back in and I'm throwing you out that door. And it may not be open.
You may gather that you're not particularly popular around here.
Look, Miss Romano, I know how you must feel, but I think there's been a big misunderstanding.
I don't think so.
Look, I kid around a lot, but I don't mean anything by it. I think it would be a terrible mistake to take this to the grievance committee.
Well, why is that?
Well, it would embarrass both of us, and it's unnecessary. Look, why don't we just forget the whole thing, and I'll give you a B+ on that paper.
How about an A?
Well, sure. Why not?
Forget it.
Ms. Romano, would you talk to her?
I think she's doing just fine.
Look, you started this, and I'm going to finish it.
Girl.
All right, young lady, you want to get tough? Let's get tough. You don't stand a chance in front of that grievance committee.
Oh, that's your opinion. You refuse to give me a good grade unless I slept with you. That's harassment.
I never said any such thing.
And that's a lie. You said I could get a better grade with just a little extra effort.
Of course I did. Anyone can.
You made a pass at me. You touched my hair. You touched my shoulders.
Sorry, but I don't remember that. Look, Barbara, I came over here to save you a lot of trouble because when I go in front of that grievance committee, I'm going to have to tell the truth. You came to see me because you wanted a better grade. And if I recall, you said you'd do anything to get it.
I didn't mean it that way.
Look, I know how it hurts, and I'm sorry it has to come out, but the fact is that you came on to me.
Okay, hold it. You were not talking to any committee now. You were talking to Barbara's mother.
All right, Miss Romano, I'll handle this.
Got out, Schneider.
Right.
You are really a beaut, parading around like some concerned academic.
Well, I am concerned.
About yourself.
Yeah, and furthermore...
Not now, Schneider.
Right.
You must feel really big and important using your position to get your jollies.
Your command of the language amazes me, Ms. Romano. Nevertheless, Barbara can't prove anything.
I'll get it.
Right.
Oh, Sylvia.
What a witness.
Am I glad to see you come in?
Professor Barr.
Sylvia.
This may be embarrassing for you, but Sylvia is going to testify with me.
Really? About what, Sylvia?
Oh, Barbara, I've been thinking. You might have misunderstood me today. Professor Barr and I have a friendly relationship, but why not? He's worked really hard to help me graduate.
She's terrified.
Sylvia, you said...
Barbara, I'm sorry. I don't know what I could testify to that would help you. I'm sorry.
Obviously, it would be better for all of us if you dropped the whole thing. Sorry to disappoint you, but no witness, no crime.
Interesting theory.
I could suspend you for that.
Oh, for what? Wait a second. I didn't see anything. Did you see anything?
Not a thing.
Are you kidding? She just knocked out. I didn't see nothing. This is not fair. The guy's getting off scot-free.
No, he isn't. He's not going to get off. I'm still going to that committee. I may not win, but I'll make it a hell of a lot harder for him to get away with it again.
Looks like we got ourselves a real fighter here, Miss Romano. With a pretty good right hand.
Oh, hi. Hi, Charlie. How you doing?
Fine, Red, fine. Congratulations on landing that Texas Tiller account.
Thank you, Charlie. Look at this. Talk about class. Connors and Davenport's answer to champagne and caviar, cold duck, and Oreos.
I heard that Connor's called from Texas. Something big in the wind?
Well, just between you and me, Charlie, I am a little nervous. It could mean a promotion for me.
Hey, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but watch out. Remember, Francine will be around as usual, hogging all the credit. Remember what happened to me? I went on a 1-week vacation.
And Francine stole your biggest account.
My biggest account, my parking space, my coffee cup, my Rolodex.
Believe me, Charlie, as soon as Mr. Connors walks through that door, I am getting to him before Francine.
Hey, congratulations, Miss Romano!
Thanks.
Way to go! All right, out of sight, you know?
bet, uh-huh.
You are one together chick, you know, baby?
Thank you, Stuart.
I gotta run, Tits.
Stuart, wait a minute. Excuse me. Weren't you supposed to be at the airport picking up Mr. Connors?
Hey, revised op orders, mamselle. Someone else is making the run with Mr. Big, Francine Webster.
Oh, my God. Do you have any idea what a woman like that can do with a man in 30 minutes?
Oh, yeah. But with cold Claude Connors?
Mr. Connors, hi. Welcome back. Francine.
Loyal employees, colleagues, and fellow molders of public opinion, howdy. As I look down upon this small sea of shining faces, I am aware of two things. One, you've already heard the good news. And two, you're all sloshed to the gills. Right now, let me just say thank you to Francine Webster. And to Ann Romano and the others who assisted Miss Webster.
I'm gonna kill her.
I warned you, Red. She's a barracuda.
Oh, what a rotten thing to say. About a barracuda.
Hi, Annie.
Hello, Francine.
Excuse me, please. I would like to fix my face.
So would I.
What is this all about, Romano? My, that temper. Almost like a real redhead.
Better a real person with phony hair than the other way around. You sneaked out of here and cornered Connors on that Texas Tiller account.
We discussed it. After all, I am quite knowledgeable on some of their product lines.
Yes, I know, but they do market more than steer manure. Did Mr. Connors say anything about a promotion?
Why, yes, I do believe he did mention it. But he hasn't decided which one of us is going to get it.
Oh, well, he shouldn't have any problem with that as soon as he finds out whose campaign it is.
Oh, Annie, you don't want that job. Believe me, it's not right for you.
Let's walk.
Walk?
Uh-huh, right over there to Mr. Connors. It isn't far, hardly worth getting on your broom.
Annie, if I were a witch, we'd rhyme.
Francine, someone is going to get a promotion on this account, and it is between you and me, unless one of us voluntarily drops out.
Why would one of us want to do that?
Because if you don't and I win, I'm going to fire you from the account.
And if I win?
Oh, then you're really in trouble, because I'll get off the account, and without me, you'll go right down the drain.
Age does sharpen the tongue, doesn't it?
Hi, how's the cold duck? So, things went well in Amarillo.
I have every reason to feel sanguine, and Francine told me just how much you helped her.
I helped her.
Oh, yes, you certainly did, Annie. I remember when I first got the idea for the campaign.
Ah, do you happen to remember from whom?
Well, I admit that the germ of the idea was Anne's.
Oh?
Of course, working out the overall concept, that was Anne's.
Really?
Of course, implementing it, that was where Anne came in.
Miss Webster, there's a word for you. Modest.
Oh.
Yes, Miss Webster, there certainly is a word for you, but that isn't it. All right, my darling, you've got one last chance. Otherwise...
Mr. Connors, I think that Anne should have that promotion. Excuse me. She deserves it. Therefore, I am dropping out.
Well then, MS Romano, you're my man, so to speak. There's nothing left but congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, a toast. We have selected the new head of the Texas Tiller account. To MS Ann Romano, Connors and Davenport's new vice president. There's more. To MS VP Romano, the very first head of Connors and Davenport's new branch office in Amarillo, Texas.
So long, partner.
Must be 6 o'clock.
Have a nice day.
Francine Webster did it to me again.
Did what?
That conniving creep. She told Mr. Connors that I deserve all the credit for the Texas Tiller account.
That's conniving?
I got a big, fat raise and a promotion to vice president.
Vice President? Mom, that's terrific. What are you so upset about?
The view from my new office.
Lousy view.
Oh, great view of the world's largest stockyard. In Amarillo.
What are you saying, Mom? We're moving to Texas?
I can't move to Texas.
My regional campaign for Texas Tiller went over too well. They want me to handle the national account, and they want me right there in Amarillo.
I don't want to go to Amarillo. School just started. I'd never get to see Dad, my friends, Grandma.
Well, honey, you're 19. I guess you could stay here in Indianapolis.
Alone? In an apartment? All by myself? Congratulations, Mom.
Amarillo? You can't do this to me.
I suppose you can't pass up a promotion like this.
Well, it was a little hard to say no with the whole office toasting and cheering.
I'm not going to stand in your way. I'm not that kind of a maintenance engineer.
Thank you, Schneider.
Okay. So just always remember, and please don't ever forget, that old Amarillo saying. The grass is always browner on the other side.
Mom, I want you to know that if I have to, I can get along very well without you.
Oh, thank you. That's just what I need, cheering up.
Well, come on. When you work for a big company these days, you have to expect to be transferred.
Yeah. Part of the game.
Comes with the territory.
I guess. It's the price you pay.
No such thing as a free lunch.
That's the way the ball bounces.
Opportunity only knocks once.
When in doubt, punt.
Huh?
I'm not going. Okay, it's a good job. It is. It's a terrific job. But it could be a dead end. What if it dries up in a few years? Or if I quit? I mean, then where the hell am I going to be?
Amarillo.
Right. And I will have lost all of my contacts here.
That's the reason you're not going.
The excuse. The reason I like it here.
Francine isn't going to be too happy about this.
Ah, that's a terrific reason for staying.
Thank you, Mr. Connors.
What are those painters doing in my office?
Your office, wrong once again.
I just had that office redone. It was beautiful.
I know, it was you. Now I'd like it to be habitable.
I think she's going to miss you, MSVP Romano. With you gone, she's going to need a scratching post in the ladies' room.
Oh, Mr. Connors, I just can't go to Amarillo.
Can't go. Can't go. Do these auditory appendages deceive me?
I'm sorry.
MS Romano, when Moses was sent to the promised land, he didn't say, I can't go.
He was working for a different boss.
Not that different. MS Romano, I want you to know that I am a sympathetic person.
Yes?
But I've convinced Texas Tiller that you're the creative genius behind the campaign. I can't jeopardize the account by taking you off it.
Are you saying that I have to go to Amarillo?
This is business, MS Romano.
This is my life, Mr. Connors.
I suppose you think that I'm cold, rigid, and unfeeling. I'm sorry, MS Romano. I must stifle my natural humanitarian tendencies and hold you to your commitment.
You mean I have to go to Amarillo or else?
Or else?
Or else I'm fired?
Well, I'd hate to put it that way exactly.
Well, let me put it this way. Exactly. I quit.
Oh, hi. What's that?
Chili and beans by the Galloping Super. Just like my dear old father used to make on Saturday night, God rest his soul.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, this ought to keep you going for a few nights.
Oh, come on. Not that broke. Oh, but then, a penny saved is a heart burned.
You know, your mother being out of work, that could be a blessing in sheepskin. I mean, she's a free agent now. She's going to be in demand.
Yeah. Well, that's what she keeps telling herself.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, I had an interview.
Yeah?
They weren't interested.
Too bad, Mom.
Well, it doesn't matter. Wasn't right anyway. I'm not worried. I've only been out of work for 10 days.
Oh, Mom, don't cry.
No, I'm not crying. There's just something stinging my eyes.
Don't you worry about it, because I made you some chili and beans.
That's it. That.
10 more days out of work, you're going to be begging me for this.
Thank you, Schneider. Sweetheart, did anybody call?
No, Mom. Still waiting for Connors to call, begging you to come back to work?
Well, I just know the way he operates, that's all. Not that I'd be interested. Get the telephone.
No, Mom. Will you just relax?
I am relaxed.
All right. Hold it. I got an idea.
What?
Millie down at the bowling alley just quit. Too many of the guys were pinching her fanny. You wouldn't have to worry about that. Not that you have, but Millie, we're talking about a world class.
Schneider. Thank you, but I still have a few options. Okay, Mr. Connors, I have waited long enough. Now I am going to call some of my clients.
You're going to steal clients from Connors and Davenport?
It's not stealing, it's business.
Oh, well, why do I always get the two mixed up?
I just hope that he's still in. Hello, Mr. Robbins, please. Ann Romano calling. Mr. Robbins, hello, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Mr. Robbins, you know how you've always encouraged me to go out on my own? Oh, well, you'd be my first client. That's right. I've left Connors in Davenport. He's delighted. He's delighted. He said he was, what? Uh-huh. All right, you bet. Bye-bye. Well, he wants to get together and talk about it.
Oh, good.
Maybe in February.
I'm sorry, Mom.
I got an idea. I'll cook some hunter stew for tomorrow night. I'll use the chili as stock.
Maybe I was a little hasty.
What do you mean?
The stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas.
Does that singing mean you're going to Amarillo?
Well, it sure don't mean she's going to the Met.
Well, let's just say that I'm going to call Mr. Connors, and we'll talk.
You could be taking a big step.
Amarillo's a cow town. You need big steps.
Come in. Good morning, MSX-VP Ramona.
Good morning, Mr. Connors. I wanted to talk to you.
I gathered you didn't come here to do the funky chicken.
Mr. Connors, I'm not I'm not gonna beg for my job back.
Good.
Please.
Thank you. A lot of women won't do that for a man anymore.
Mr. Connors, I realize that I left you in a very bad spot with Texas Tiller.
MS Romano, look at my face. What do you see?
Nothing.
Exactly. Don't ever get in a poker game with me.
What are you talking about?
Your face, it's honest, open, vulnerable. What a terrible handicap.
Okay, right. No games. I am willing to give Amarillo a shot. My best shot.
MS Romano, your best shot would be terrific. You're very, very good at it. But I'm sorry, the Amarillo job is filled. Charlie Doyle.
He wanted to go to Amarillo?
Actually, it was Francine's idea.
Francine got rid of him, too. It's a wonder you're still here. Mr. Connors, if Charlie is going to Texas, that means you need another account executive right here.
I know, and we have one at half your salary.
Who?
We selected a very bright, promising young man from the mailroom.
Who?
Neville Connors.
Your son. He never worked in the mailroom.
He most certainly did, Monday.
Do you mean to tell me that you were hiring an untried kid to take my place?
It will make his mother very happy. And to make me happy, I've hired a very competent man from New York.
Maybe I can get his old job.
MS, I'd take you back if I could, but the wheels are in motion. There's no turning back.
5 years. I've been here 5 years.
I know. I almost called you, but I realize that your decision is the right one.
It's my fault. I quit. Why do I feel as if I'm being fired?
Well, look at it this way. You're being kicked out of the nest, but you're ready. Go fly.
Where to? I'm sorry, I'm a little shaken. I guess I figured that everything would work out.
I hate these terminations. Actually, there's only one that ever upset me more than this.
Whose?
Mine. Oh, yes. That was just before I founded Connors and Davenport.
Goodbye, Mr. Connors. It's been fun.
M.S. Romano, goodbye and thank you.
Hey, look, maybe we'll meet again someday, huh? When we're both pitching for the same account.
I wouldn't be surprised, Annie. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Oh, Romano, is any of this junk yours?
Yeah. The vase is mine. The water belongs to the company. It's all yours.
No, Mom, I have not found a job yet. Yep, I had 3 interviews today, but nothing worked out.
Yes, Mom, I did dress neatly.
Mom, no, thank you. I don't need your bingo money.
We're okay, Mom. Really, everything's cool.
No, they haven't turned off the heat. Yes, Mom, I know. I am very brave. Mom, look, could you call back later, okay? No, I promise you, the phone will not be disconnected. Although it's tempting.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Find a job yet?
No!
Mom, everything's gonna be okay. Look, I got some beans and some hamburger helper and a loaf of day-old bread.
Barbara, we are not broke yet.
And 2 big juicy steaks.
Now we're broke.
It's okay. I'm trying to start a diet, and broke is the only way.
Hi there, Miss Romano.
Hello.
You get a job yet?
No!
Any interviews?
Oh, yes, Schneider. As a matter of fact, I did have 3 interviews today.
Did you dress nice?
Schneider, were you listening outside?
Oh, Miss Romano, I don't eavesdrop anymore. I've outgrown that.
Good.
But you are brave.
Mom, they're looking for people to sweep out the stadium after the football games.
Darling, I am not going to sweep out the football stadium.
Not you, me. I want to help out. I think maybe I should get a part-time job.
Thank you, sweetheart. That's very nice. But I've only been out of work for 3 weeks. We have enough money to tide us over for the next couple of months, and I just finished paying all the bills.
Well, that was yesterday. See, I brought your mail up. It's got more windows than a Holiday Inn.
No, it can't be. Ah, look, it's my car insurance. I hate to guess how much this one is.
$362.97. Listen, Miss Romano, don't let it get you down. Every rainbow has a silver lining. It's like my dear old daddy used to say to me when I was just a little kid. Schneider, life is like a corral. When you walk through it, you may not see the pony. But you know he's there. Just incredible to think the man has never been published.
Ma, you'll find something soon. I'm not even worried about it.
No, I'm not worried. This is just an opportunity to move onward and upward.
Where are you going?
Unemployment.
Romano and Romano. Romano?
No, not exactly. You see, mine... Okay. I've never been in an unemployment office before.
Mm-hmm.
See, I wasn't fired from my last job. Not exactly. I was laid off permanently.
Oh, no.
What's the matter?
I've got a hangnail. Take these to window B.
Thank you very much.
Hamilton, Jim Hamilton.
That's Hamilton.
Hey! Hey, Miss Romano! Hey, remember me, Carlos? Hey, I used to work in your office building. Hey, they canned you too, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to have a sandwich? Hey, it's
No,
meatloaf.
Carlos, thank you.
Hey, I
No.
made it myself. Carlos is a special.
Okay, approve. Thank you.
I hope you like garlic.
I hope I do too.
Hey, so what are you doing here? I thought you were making the big bucks.
Oh, Carlos, not that big.
Hey, well, come on, get in line.
No, wait, I...
Come on, I'll save you a lot of time.
Hey, big bucks. End of the line.
Don't. Hey, what's the matter with you? This is my sister. I was saving her place while she went to the can.
Come on, right here. It's very good. Bravo. Very well done.
I didn't mean to butt in.
Oh, that's all right. I understand. You're late for your tennis game.
Wrong. My rolls is double parked.
What have you been eating? You smell like an Armenian village.
Meatloaf. Carlos gave it to me. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, so I took the sandwich and Why am I wasting my breath on you?
Please don't. You don't remember me, do you?
Huh?
A couple of years ago, Connors and Davenport, I showed you some sketches for an RV campaign. You turned them down.
Oh, gee, how could I forget a nice day like that?
Yeah, well, your loss was my gain. It was then that I decided to start my own business.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Glad to see you're doing so well.
Hey, Mr. Romano. Hey, you're in advertising, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
I said, maybe I got a lead for you. This ice cream company downtown just fired its advertising agency. Here, take it.
Thank you, Carlos. You can buy a paper for $25, if it's in your company's budget. I'm not pushing.
little
We
chance.
just... Hi.
Hi. Mom, I already did the shopping.
Oh, these aren't groceries. It comes under the heading of research for a job I've got a lead on.
Oh, great. Mom, guess what?
What?
I haven't had a bite since breakfast, and already I lost 1 pound.
Hey, good for you.
What's in the bag?
12 pints of ice cream.
12 pints of ice cream? How can you do that to me?
You don't have to eat any of it.
No, I don't, but you know I will. Did Grandma put you up to this? She's always trying to fatten me up.
Darling, I told you, it's research. I have a chance for work at the Star Time Ice Cream Company.
What as? Company glutton?
They need somebody to handle their advertising. I've got an appointment to meet them tomorrow.
What are you doing with all the ice cream?
Well, I'm going to taste it. See, I want to become familiar with their product line. If they ask me, for instance, if I've tasted their new almond mocha, I can honestly say yes. This is scrumptious ice cream. You want to taste some?
Mom, my diet.
Yeah, but okay, we got here Rocky Road. This is very, very good ice cream.
Rocky Road's my favorite.
Oh, this is peppermint swirl with little candy bits in it.
All right. I can't take it anymore. Oh, if sex is any better than this, I won't be able to stand it.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Ann Romano. I have an appointment to meet with Mr. Berge. I hope I'm not too late.
Oh, no. He's running a bit late himself. He has another interview.
Oh, well, I would have been here 10 minutes earlier, but some jerk in an old Pontiac parked right in the middle of 2 spaces. I wrote him a nasty note in the dust on his hood.
Is there anything I can get for you? Coffee? Tea? Ice cream?
No, thank you.
Oh, that's great, Mr. Berge. So I'll call you in a week. Thanks a lot.
Good. Okay. I hope something works out. I'll be with you in a minute. Marge.
Well, well, well. Miss Big Bucks. What are you doing here?
What am I doing here? What are you doing here?
Isn't it obvious? I'm trying to get this job before you do.
And it didn't occur to you that I was the one who had the lead.
Yes, of course it did. That's why I got here early.
Well, at least you consider me competition.
Oh, no, not at all. See, what they need here is some exciting new artwork. Anybody can write the words.
Why didn't I realize that? I mean, think where this country could have been today if we had just had a few cartoons in the Bill of Rights.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry if I seem rude. It's just that there's just something about you that irritates me.
By golly, we found something in common.
It's a tough world out there. I need to work. You can always get married.
Tell me, do you own an old Pontiac?
Yes?
It figures.
Excuse me, Miss Romano. Mr. Berge will see you now.
Oh, thank you. Excuse me.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Oh, hold it.
What?
I can't let you go in like that. You're unzipped.
What?
Your dress.
Oh, thank you.
Sure, my pleasure. Here, let me get it.
No, I can do it.
Oh, come on, just let me help you, please.
I really can
just
do
let
it
me help
myself.
you. Got it.
All right, thank
Damn it.
you. What?
Just got your zipper caught in my sleeve.
Well, would you get it loose, please?
Okay, I'm trying to help.
Would you?
Would you hold it? I'm trying. Oh, all right, I'll take my jacket off.
I'm not going to go in there with your jacket hanging off my back.
Well, maybe you should take your dress off.
Oh, that's cute. That's really cute.
Look,
you know.
I'm trying to help.
Oh, I'll just.
Oh, where you go? That wasn't very nice.
I will do
If you
this.
want me to get the zipper,
I can get the zipper. If you would leave me alone, I would.
Miss Romano? Have you ever taken out a splinter before?
Sure, hundreds of them. Grandpa once made us a wooden slide.
You sure you know what you're doing?
Yes,
Then why is your hand shaking?
because it's holding your hand. Now, don't be so chicken.
I'm not chicken. These hands are my life. Ever seen an infection? You know what happens? Infection, your hand gets hot and then it starts to swell and get inflamed, then a red streak runs up your arm.
Better than a yellow streak running up your back.
I hate it!
Oh, I'm sorry.
You are not.
The egotistical man I have ever met in my life.
Mom, what's the matter? Didn't you get the job?
Yes. No, I don't know. I went down there, and here was the same jerk who accosted me in the unemployment office. He had the nerve to follow me down there and butt in on my interview and even openly admit that he was trying to steal my job. And then he called me irritating. And then, oh, you're never going to believe what he did. You want to hear what he did then? You want to hear what that miserable creep did then?
What did he do?
I really don't want to talk about it. I had that job right in the palm of my hands, and now we're in competition for it. Oh.
Well, you people wanted equality. Now you're going to have to learn how to lose.
Who is this guy anyway, Mom?
I don't know his name. I don't want to know his name because if I did, I'd put out a contract on him.
Mono, your zipper is...
Don't you touch my zipper.
Come on, Schneider, hold still while I dig this out.
Yeah, dig?
If you're good, I'll give you a lollipop.
Don't get smart with me.
Hey, what's going on?
He got a swiver in his little pinky.
Yeah. Well, allow me. Come on. I'm an expert on little swivers. Be my guest.
Not a widow swibber.
Hey, that's not bad at all, Schneider. We'll just ease that splinter right out of there.
Mother has a bedside manner.
No, can't stand it. I think this is lousy. Ice cream. Star time ice cream. Oh, Barbara, you see, the thing is, if I come up with something really original, I know I can land this account.
Original. Okay, how about 9 out of 10 New York dentists recommend StarTime ice cream?
No, really.
Don't like that one. Okay, how about Pig Out with StarTime?
Just miss it. Look, the thing is that I've been looking at their ads, and the problem is that there's no central idea, nothing that ties the whole thing together.
You mean like some catchy theme?
Yeah, right. But that theme has got to be pertinent. It's got to have identification. All right. What really sells a product?
Sex?
That's it.
Sex?
Sin.
Ice cream and sin?
There is something self-indulgent, something secretly sensual about dropping into a little ice cream parlor on your way home and gently caressing your taste buds with a delicious double dip of Star Time, dark chocolate, fudge, ripple. Right, see, it's not bad. It really is a good idea. Okay, now, what we have to do is get, like, a trademark or some...
more.
Yeah, it's work.
Ice cream
cones,
Yeah.
and a lot of them piled up, one on top of the other, which makes a little snowman. Okay, and he is whispering the slogan, sin a little, with Star Time. I love it, I am brilliant. I'm brilliant.
This is a good one. I'll
It
get
is
that,
good.
okay?
Yeah, thank you. Sin a little with...
Hi.
Hi.
I'm looking for Ann Romano.
Oh, sure, just a second. Ma, someone here to see you.
Okay, I'm on my way.
Hello.
What the hell are you doing here?
Believe me, it's business, not pleasure. You owe me $12.95.
What for?
It's what it cost to mend the rip your zipper put in my jacket.
Barbara, whoever it is, tell him I'm not home.
She's not home.
Yeah, well, I suspected that all along. Now, you listen to me. I am not even charging you for mental anguish.
Hey, look, why should I pay? You caught your coat in my zipper.
I did not. I was trying to help. You jerked the zipper.
You jerked the zipper.
You put your hand out on your back.
So that we won't argue, okay? I will pay half.
I will take it.
$6.47.
8. $6.48 plus $3.50 for a car wash to get your nasty words off my hood. Hi.
Hi.
You're a very lovely young lady.
Oh, well, thank you.
Any relation?
I heard that.
Okay. What's this?
Snowman?
This is a snowman?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
No.
Excuse me. What are you doing?
Reading your copy?
You are stealing my ideas.
Stealing this? You gotta be paranoid.
Hey, now,
Sing
wait a
a
minute.
little with Star Time. Well, that's catchy, isn't it?
Well, I think it's...
Thank you. Thank you very much for your valued opinion.
You're quite welcome.
If you don't like it, then I have to be on the right track. Right, Barbara?
Well, Mom, I think it's a good...
Wait, now, wait a second. Ice cream, that's for kids and church socials. This sounds like she's trying to sell perfume, doesn't it?
Well, I...
Okay, here is your money. There is the door.
You better keep it. You're gonna need it. Barbara, I'm sorry I put you on the spot over there. Obviously, you've been brought up in a home where you're not allowed to express your own opinion.
Would you like me to express mine?
Not really. Bye, Barbara. May the best man win.
Kind of cute, isn't he? Just expressing my own opinion.
Where does he get off criticizing my copy? He's an unemployed artist, and I am an account executive. Who was an account executive. This is a good idea. Isn't it?
Well, Mom...
It is a good idea. Kids are always going to buy ice cream. The point is to get diet-conscious adults to buy it. It's a good idea, and he knows it, and he's just trying to get me upset. Well, I'm going to get that account, and I'm not going to be upset, you see, because I am already furious. Furious? Oh! I hate that confident look on his face.
Keep smiling. Don't let her know you're worried. I wonder why she's so sure of herself.
If I don't get this assignment, I'm just going to have to sell my car.
Somehow, I've got to wipe my palms before I shake hands with Mr. Berge. But I am not going to let her see it.
I can't go to the restroom again.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Ms. Romano, this is great copy. Somehow you've associated eating ice cream with a primal urge. It's adult, It has humor. It's salesmanship. We love your idea.
Really? Really? I'm delighted, really delighted.
You've made ice cream sensual. Sort of a forbidden tutti-frutti. You can use that if you want.
Oh, so I've gotten the account?
Well, there is a problem. The board shot down your snowman idea. It's too bland. Gave us nothing.
No problem. I'll just come up with something else.
Oh, there's no need. That's taken care of thanks to Mr. Handress here. You know, it's amazing how much you two complement each other.
Excuse me?
He gave us our new logo. Isn't that a cute little devil? Sin a little with Star Time, the devilish ice cream. Beautiful. It's surprising how you two were thinking alike.
Isn't it, though?
So, you've got the account.
Who?
The two of you. We want you to work together.
Phone calling too, Mr. Burton.
You two will make a great team.
Team. Team.
Team.
The basic idea was mine.
Which would have bombed without my devil.
You stole that idea from my copy.
You invented sin.
Okay, Mr. Footrest, or whatever
that's
the hell
lowest
your
thing.
name
I can't
is.
believe you're making fun of my name. Why would you make fun of a person's name?
How could I make
How
fun of
could
it?
you
How
make-
could you think?
What is the most-
Honey, are you awake? There's somebody at the door. Barbara? Rotten kid. I'm coming. Who is it?
Nick.
Nick who?
Nick Handress.
Sorry, I don't know what... Oh, my God.
Morning, Annie. Where should I put all this stuff?
What are you doing here so early?
You said you wanted to get an early start.
It's not even 7 a.m.
I should have known by your temperament you're not a morning person.
I am a morning person. It's just not morning yet. I'm not awake. I haven't showered. I don't have any clothes on.
Hey, Annie, please. We don't have enough time for romance.
Mom, did you call me? Oh, hi, Mr. Handress.
Morning, Bart. Why don't you call me Nick, okay?
Nick, okay.
Annie, I bet you haven't had breakfast yet.
You'd win.
Well, don't you worry about fixing anything for me. I brought some donuts. Breakfast for everyone on me. I'll be right back. I left my drawing board in the car.
He's so cute.
We see him differently. Oh, why did I ever agree to work with that man?
We need the money.
That's the reason. Well, it's a one-shot deal. We will polish off this ice cream account, and then it's goodbye, Nick. Oh, he's trying to kill me.
Mm-hmm. I'll die for you.
No, it's all right. I'll eat it.
I'll put on some coffee.
You know, these things are so bad for you. You know, I have anything to say about this whole thing. He said we work early. He said we work on Saturday. He said we use my place. Then he has the goal to tell me what I'm going to have for breakfast. Oh, God, these are so good. Okay. It's only going to be for a few days, right? I will be pleasant. I will be cheerful. Besides, the man has already irritated me as much as humanly possible.
This is my kid, Alex. I thought maybe he could stay with us today.
What?
Alex, this is Miss Romano.
Hi.
Hi.
She doesn't remind me of Mom.
You haven't heard her yell yet. But stick around. Annie, is it okay if he does his homework in here?
Wait a minute. He's going to be here while we work?
Well, it's his weekend to have me. He's divorced.
Well, that's certainly understandable.
Hi. I'm Barbara. Hi. Is she the one that's going to take me to the football game this afternoon? Football game?
Big mouth, I haven't even asked her yet.
Dad, I'm 12. Why can't I go by myself? I take the bus to school.
I told you, you're not going to any football game alone, okay?
Okay, but if I run into any of my friends, they're going to think I'm on a date.
I know a lot of guys who'd be happy to have a date with her.
Really? Wait a second. Could I vote on this? I did have some plans.
There's $20 in it for you.
That I can certainly cancel.
And maybe if she's really nice, she'll help you with your homework.
Why not? I better change first. She's not very friendly.
Well, let's get started with this ice cream account. I need the money.
Hey, look, do you mind if I get dressed first? I haven't showered, I haven't had breakfast.
Make yourself at home.
Okay, how's this? Nick?
Huh?
Now that we can hear each other, I said, how's this? Sin a little with Star Time, the devilish ice cream.
You had that yesterday.
If I may finish. You had that little picture of the devil yesterday, too, but you're doing another one.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay. Now, what we're trying to do is to promote the idea that Star Time ice cream is a temptation, right? A delicious temptation. All right, I thought maybe we'd use history. For example, would Antony have been tempted by Cleopatra if he had tasted Star Time Mocha Ripple first?
You may be onto something.
I think it's good. I do. I think it's
I
good.
could work some great art on the original sin idea. For instance, Eve could be eating Star Time apple spice.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Or,
Let's go.
all right, Marie Antoinette saying, let him eat ice cream.
I love it. Okay, or she lost her head over French vanilla.
Oh, yes, okay, like that. I think it's good. Okay,
I am
okay, get
really
it down.
turned on by this history idea.
Yeah.
I'll work up a storyboard and we could just sort of ease out the sin idea and just stick with history.
Wait a minute, you were all for sin this morning. What's wrong with sin this afternoon?
What is this, a sexathon?
Schneider, this is business.
Miss Romano, you're too innocent. You're too pure. You're too old.
This is Mr. Handress?
It is not. These guys never give their right name.
We are working on the ice cream account together.
Be still, my little sump pump. So, you're the cartoonist, huh?
No, I'm the artist.
Yeah? You sure painted yourself into a cozy little situation here.
Schneider, it's not what you think.
Ms. Romano, you owe me no explanatory revelations.
Good.
Red is too blue. You need a little more yellow.
Who is this person?
Schneider. Wayne F. Schneider.
He's our building superintendent. He's a good friend of mine. Drops in all the time.
Why don't you be a nice man and come back some other time? Okay, pal?
Don't call me pal, okay, buddy?
Wait a minute. I don't think you understand what we're trying to do here. We're trying to work, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. I don't mind if she don't mind. But if she minds, I mind. And if I mind because she makes me mind, then you better mind.
We do have work to do, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. You mind?
No, I don't mind.
You don't mind. You're lucky.
Guess what? I've discovered perpetual motion.
What?
It's him. He never sits still. Never once during that football game did he stay in one place. I could have subleased his seat and made a fortune. I'm never going to a game with her again. All she does is make up rules. Don't climb in the railing. Don't make paper airplanes. Don't boo the players. Don't drink my beer. Don't
Hey, hold it.
beer. 2 hours with him and you'd want a beer too. I missed the best play of the game waiting for her to come out of the ladies' room. That is no reason for you to send a lady cop in there looking for me. Well, you were gone so long, I thought you died in there.
Maybe a couple of PT boats, one for each.
I was getting sick watching you stuff your face with all that junk. Popcorn, peanuts, hot dogs, ice cream.
Barbara,
Yeah, well, talk about sick. In my whole life, I've never seen anyone bring carrot sticks to a football game. Maybe you should try it once. Maybe you should
Cool it, please.
You know?
We're trying to do some work around here.
He's right. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna go. Probably think that little devil is hot stuff. Doesn't look like Miss Romano at all.
Oh, Schneider, that's the trademark for the ice cream account. It has nothing to do...
I had to use somebody's face. It's Walter Cronkite's body.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Boy, don't you look comfortable.
I am. I feel great. It is one beautiful day.
They're predicting thunder showers.
Who cares? The work for the ice cream account is over with. I will get my money. God is in his heaven, and Nick is out of my life.
And you're out of a job again.
It doesn't bother me one bit. I'll pay a few bills, relax a couple of days, and know that from now on, by comparison, anybody I work with will be a pleasure. And you're not going to have to be saddled with that little Alex person.
Oh, I don't know. Kid kind of grows on you. But little boys are weird.
Congratulations.
What for?
Ice cream company loved your work.
No kidding. That's terrific. How do you know that? We just turned in the stuff this morning.
Well, Rembrandt tried to call you. Your line was busy, so he called me.
Oh, I must have been on the phone with my mom.
For an hour and a half?
Well, I made the mistake of asking what's new. Yeah, so? Did Nick say anything about the money? Are they going to pay us?
Well, he didn't say. He said for you to meet him down at that address there.
What for?
Well, he didn't say.
Well, why didn't you ask him? I want my money.
Well, he didn't say.
Oh, God, the nerve of that person asking me to come all the way downtown. Why?
He didn't say.
Who the hell does they think he is?
He didn't say that either.
It just makes me furious. I'm furious. It really makes me furious.
He didn't say.
Nick?
Come in, Annie.
Okay. I'm here. What is this all about?
I just thought you'd want to see the place.
I see it. It's you. Now, where's my share of the money?
I used it as a down payment.
On what?
Our new office.
Our what?
Our new office.
This?
You love it.
Dump?
We'll paint it, throw in another desk.
Why?
We got a new account.
We?
I knew you'd be delighted. See, Annie, the ice cream people recommended us to a hat company. I showed them our presentation, and they loved our work.
You stole my money.
I used my money, too. We can't keep working at your place.
You stole my money.
I did not. You own half of a 2-year lease.
2 years.
2.
With you? I want my money.
Annie, come on. We need your work. And despite your disposition, we happen to work well together.
I'm calling the police.
I'll have to wait until Tuesday. The phone isn't connected yet. Annie, come on. A little paint, a couple of plants.
You're not only a thief, you're a forger. You must have forged my
I
name.
did not forge your name. I had to make the check out to Handress and Associates.
Handress and Associates.
Right.
Handress and
Associates.
I do all the work and I get associates. Give me my money. I don't care how you get it. Give me my money.
I don't have it.
Then go rob somebody else.
Look, Annie, offices are hard to find. Now, this one was available and it was cheap. Now, come on, sit down. I'll even let you have the chair. Just don't lean back.
You're not funny. You are a loudmouthed, obnoxious, undependable...
Annie, you don't have to be diplomatic with me.
It didn't even occur to you to ask me first.
Well, yes, of course it occurred to me, but you would have said no.
You're damn right. I would have said no.
Okay. Okay, Toots. I thought you had some adventure in your soul, but just forget about it. Forget about the office. I'll pay you back.
Don't bother. I'm getting a lawyer.
You can't afford a lawyer.
Then I will seduce one. And I will sue you for every penny you've got.
Boy, is that a waste of time? I mean, the suing. I can't judge the seduction.
Brother.
Oh, watch the doorknob.
Mom, I got a job at the school library. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons.
Great.
Doesn't pay very much, but it will keep me out of the refrigerator 2 afternoons a week. Why are you staring at that flower pot?
Well, Petrie's Nursery wants me to do an ad for them. They're giving away pots as a come-on. What can I write about a flower pot?
Well, if you want to get some attention, just put an ad in the college paper. Come to Petrie's and get your free pot.
Not bad.
Want me to start dinner?
Yeah, that'd be terrific. You know, for doing this ad, I will earn the astounding sum of $100.
Well, why don't you try for the bigger companies instead of just the local stores?
Oh, gee, golly whiz, that's a real super idea. You know, I mentioned it to IBM, and they were so thrilled with the idea, they said that I didn't even have to call them. They call me.
I'm going to take this to small claims court.
You're going to sue a flower pot?
No, Nick. Fertilizer's half off.
At small claims court?
At the nursery. If you buy 2 plants. He said he'd pay me back, but it's been 4 days.
The nursery?
Nick, come. Barbara, would you stick to one subject? You are driving me crazy.
I'm sorry. I'm depressed. You know, I built up this whole fantasy in my mind. When I left Connors and
I
Davenport...
thought you were fired.
Barbara, do you mind my fantasy?
Sorry.
I thought it would be my big chance, an opportunity to strike out on my own and go right to the top. My own agency, a big office, 5-minute ride on the elevator just to get up to it, glass doors that open automatically with 3 male secretaries that say, good morning, Ms. Romano. Good morning, Ms. Romano.
That's just 2.
The third one's my lover. All we do is exchange knowing glances.
Oh. Well, Mom, you achieved your fantasy. You own half an empty office on the 2nd floor with a guy you can't stand.
Wonderful.
Hello, Annie. Nice to see you. Nice to see you too, Nick. Won't you come in? Oh, thank you very much, Annie. I'd love to. How are you feeling, Nick? Oh, I feel wonderful, thank you. Would you like a beer? I would love to have a beer. Thank you.
Where's my money?
Ah, business before pleasure, I see.
If I don't get my money, I'm going to call the police.
Here you go.
Thank you very much, sir. Oh, come on. This isn't nearly enough. You owe me another $512.
And here you go, $72 in cash. 1/4 share in a Krugerrand. $12.43 in change. 3 shares in a little upstate New York winery. $2.99 and 13-cent stamps right on the floor. And a $5 briefcase. Which makes a grand total of $512. Sign here, paid in full, please.
This ends our association entirely.
Completely.
Then, of course, I'll sign. There you go.
Thank you, Ms. Romano.
Thank you.
Nice knowing you, Barb. You're a very lovely young lady.
Oh. I'm sorry we won't be seeing him anymore.
Come on, Barbara. The man is impossible. He's undisciplined, impulsive, unbusinesslike, and totally irritating.
One more thing, Annie. I happen to think you're a very talented woman. Good luck.
What a rotten thing to say.
You want my opinion?
No.
I think you're making a big mistake. You and Nick do excellent work together.
Come on, Barbara, would you give me a break, huh? Buy a plant, get a pot free. Give a lovely home to a sweet pea. Oh, I'm losing my mind.
Who is it?
Anne?
Are you armed?
No, I'm not armed.
I thought maybe you checked up on the winery stocks.
What are you working on?
Oh, it's the ad for the hat company. What do you think?
It's not bad.
Thank you. What do you think about the caption?
It's simple.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be simple.
I know, it's a compliment.
Oh. Annie,
Nick,
I just
look out.
want
No, what
I have
see
to
what
tell
I
you my
wanted to
feelings.
say.
Ladies first.
That could be construed as a sexist remark.
You wouldn't have said that on the Titanic.
Yeah, well, you're probably right. Okay. I happen to be the neighborhood, and
This neighborhood? You should use more sense.
Would you let me finish?
Absolutely, I'm
Good.
sorry.
Thank you. Well, I've been thinking, and I feel that, well, under the circumstances, that we should... I think we ought to be partners.
Well, that might not be a bad idea.
And we're partners?
Yeah, as soon as you give me back the money.
Yeah, I was sort of hoping you'd say that. Okay, here you go. We got here 100 Susan B. Anthony dollars, $17 in coupons, 6 months remaining on my Ms. subscription, 43 cents in Greek coins, $25 gift certificate for a facial.
Okay. Not original, but okay. Partners.
Okay. What I feel is that we're both a little too headstrong.
Right.
All right, about this office. Actually, it's not bad.
See?
Yeah, we just have to clean it up. And rent some furniture and paint these walls in nice, bright, shiny yellow.
Yellow? Well, maybe one wall could be yellow.
One more thing.
Huh?
It's little, but it's important to me. The name of the company, Handress and Associates.
Oh, Annie, look, no. It's already been handled. I mean, I looked into my soul and realized that it just wasn't fair. I even flipped a coin to see who should come first, and you won.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Therefore...
I still hear the particular cadence of that office door closing behind Sylvia. A soft click that somehow carries more weight than any slam. It is the sound of privacy being manufactured on demand, the kind of institutional quiet that late 70s academia perfected. Watching Barbara sit across from Professor Barr, I feel the old familiar tightening in my own chest. The same one that arrived decades ago when a literature instructor once rested his hand a beat too long on the back of my chair and asked whether I had ever considered how much easier the semester could become. The memory does not arrive as outrage, it arrives as whether a sudden drop in barometric pressure that the body recognizes before the mind can name it. In the script, the professor begins with the practiced self-deprecation of a man who has long understood the strategic value of appearing fallible. He jokes about forgetting his car keys, offers the late arrival as an icebreaker, and the laughter he invites is already a form of consent he assumes will be given. Barbara's voice remains polite, almost apologetic for having disturbed his afternoon. She has a B+ average, she has lived in the library. She has taken the telephone off the hook for 2 entire weekends. The details accumulate like evidence she hopes will speak for itself. Yet what the scene reveals with almost surgical clarity is how thoroughly the young woman has been trained to present her labor as something that requires permission to be valued. When he begins to skim the paper, the small affirmative sounds ah-ha-ha-ha-oh function as a kind of eroticized suspense. I remember how those non-committal noises once felt in real rooms, the way a teacher's pen hovered, the way the air thickened with the possibility of either rescue or further diminishment. Barr's eventual verdict that the paper could be a B or even a B+ if only a little extra effort were applied is delivered with the smoothness of someone who has rehearsed the line in many offices. The phrase "a little extra effort" lands with the soft brutality of something that pretends to be neutral. Barbara answers that she is willing to do anything. The words are ordinary, the kind of eager student phrase that once filled every hallway. In this context they become a door left ajar. What follows is the touch. He squeezes her shoulders. The script records her startled observation of the pressure, the way she names the physical fact before she can name the meaning. Is this a pass, she asks, and the question itself is already a negotiation with disbelief. His reply, better to pass than to fail, is one of those perfect 70s constructions that manage to be both joke and threat at once. I have carried that particular brand of linguistic slipperiness with me for years. It is the language of men who prefer implication to declaration, who prefer the student to do the interpretive labor of deciding whether she has been propositioned or merely misunderstood. Sitting with the scene now, I am struck by how little actual force is required. There is no raised voice, no explicit demand. There is only the closed door, the improved grade held just out of reach, and the hands that have already claimed the right to rest on her body. The cultural atmosphere of the period did not yet have the vocabulary that would later make such moments easier to prosecute, yet the emotional architecture is fully present. Barbara's education in power begins not with a dramatic assault but with the quiet recalibration of what her academic effort is allowed to mean. The paper she wrote about the legal system is suddenly less important than the body that wrote it. That inversion still feels to me like the true subject of the hour. I think of my own mother, who once described a similar encounter from her secretarial years with the same mixture of shame and residual politeness, as if even decades later she still needed to prove she had not invited the attention. The script does not moralize, it simply lets the air grow heavy around the two figures at the desk. By the time Barbara leaves that office, the grade and the touch have fused into a single experience. She has learned in the space of a few minutes that institutions often prefer the comfort of a popular professor to the clarity of a young woman's account. The knowledge settles into her the way certain weather settles into a house, quietly, thoroughly, and without asking permission. There is a particular quality to the silence that follows a young woman out of a professor's office when the door has closed on something she already knows she will have difficulty naming. I have carried that silence with me for more than 40 years. And every time I return to this stretch of the script, it arrives again thick and almost physical, like the heavy air that settles over a Midwestern city just before a summer storm. Barbara returns home carrying not only the memory of hands on her shoulders, but the heavier knowledge that the institution she has trusted has already begun to rearrange itself around the preservation of a popular man's reputation. The complaint she eventually files is less an act of sudden courage than the slow, reluctant recognition that silence itself has become intolerable. I remember the first time I watched this sequence as a teenager, sitting on the floor of a living room that smelled of cigarette smoke and overcooked vegetables the way so many living rooms smelled in those years. The television glowed with that particular late 70s palette of muted browns and soft yellows, and Barbara's face, still young enough to look startled by its own anger, seemed to occupy more space than the screen itself. What struck me then, and what continues to strike me now, is how little the script allows her the luxury of clean outrage. Her first impulse is not to march into an office and demand justice, it is to wish the entire episode could be erased by 3 or 4 showers. The body wants to wash the touch away before the mind is ready to convert the touch into language that can be spoken aloud. That delay feels truer to me than any immediate speech of defiance I have ever seen on screen. When she finally tells her mother, the words come out in a rush that is half confession and half plea for the story to be disbelieved. He said that he didn't leave any doubt about it. The sentence is careful, almost legalistic, as if she is already preparing the testimony she knows will be required. Anne's reaction is immediate and visceral, the protective fury of a woman who has lived long enough to recognize the pattern. Yet, even in that first explosion of maternal anger, there is already the shadow of calculation. They both understand, without needing to articulate it fully, that the path from private injury to public complaint is mined with every social expectation of the period. A popular professor is not merely an individual, he is a reputation the campus has invested in. To accuse him is to accuse the collective judgment of everyone who has found him charming, helpful, or simply entertaining in a lecture hall. I think often of the way Schneider enters the conversation, broom in hand, already performing the comic role that has become his armor. His jokes about witches and wrestling teams are not merely comic relief. They are the nervous chatter of a man who senses the seriousness of the moment and reaches instinctively for the only language he trusts. Yet beneath the bluster there is a genuine anger that surfaces when he speaks of slimy, scaly hands. The physicality of the description is telling. Schneider, who spends his days fixing broken things in the building, understands violation in tactile terms. The hands that touched Barbara have in his imagination already become something less than human. That transformation is itself a form of emotional self-protection. If the professor can be reduced to a creature, then the injury becomes cleaner, less complicated by the ordinary manners that make such men difficult to confront. The cultural atmosphere of the late 1970s still clung to the notion that a certain amount of male attention was the natural weather through which young women were expected to walk. The phrase "boys will be boys" appears later in the script like an old piece of furniture no one quite knows how to move out of the room. It is the kind of received wisdom that functions as both explanation and absolution. I heard versions of it throughout my own adolescence, spoken by well-meaning relatives, who genuinely believed they were offering realism rather than permission. Watching Barbara absorb the first wave of campus reaction, the stares in the hallway, the economics teacher who suddenly insists the door remain open, the anonymous telephone calls, I feel again the particular isolation of being the person who has disturbed the comfortable consensus. The grievance committee has not yet convened, yet the social trial has already begun. What the script captures with unusual precision is the absence of proof as a kind of secondary injury. Barbara has the memory of the shoulders being squeezed, the memory of the improved grade being dangled, the memory of the closed door. She does not have a recording, a witness who will speak without fear, or a written proposition. In the moral economy of the time, that absence is treated as nearly decisive. The popular man is allowed the benefit of every doubt. The young woman is required to produce a standard of evidence that the situation itself was designed to prevent. I have watched this dynamic replay itself in countless later stories, both fictional and real, and each time I return to this episode, I am struck by how early and how clearly the series understood the architecture of institutional stays, self-protection. Anne's insistence that Barbara file the complaint is not simple maternal protectiveness. It is the hard-earned knowledge of a woman who has already lived through the consequences of silence. When she recounts almost offhandedly her own earlier experience of harassment, the one she mistook for luck at 16, the moment lands with quiet devastation. The admission is not framed as a dramatic revelation, it is offered as ordinary history. The kind of story women of her generation carried without ever quite deciding where to put it. That understatement feels more powerful to me than any speech of solidarity. It suggests that the pattern is so common, it has become part of the emotional furniture of adulthood. The newspaper headline "Co-ed fingers top prof on sex charge" reduces the entire complexity of the experience to a piece of campus gossip. The language itself is already a form of diminishment. Co-ed carries its own dated condescension, a reminder that female students were still often regarded as temporary and decorative members of the academic community. Barbara's sudden notoriety is not the notoriety of a truth-teller. It is the notoriety of someone who has made other people uncomfortable. The telephone calls that follow the stares, the sudden caution of male faculty members, all of it constitutes a collective effort to restore the previous equilibrium by making the complainant the problem. I find myself lingering on the small domestic details that surround these larger events. The air horn Schneider produces as a solution to the obscene calls is pure physical comedy, yet it also functions as a kind of folk remedy for a social disease the larger culture has not yet decided how to treat. The image of a building superintendent offering an industrial noisemaker as protection against male intrusion is both funny and quietly heartbreaking. It suggests that the official channels are already understood to be inadequate and that ordinary people must improvise their own defenses. There is a moment when Barbara says she is beginning to wish she had never filed the complaint. The line is delivered without self-pity, almost as a practical observation. The cost of speaking has already exceeded the injury of the original touch. That calculation, whether the price of truth is higher than the price of silence, remains one of the most enduring and unresolved tensions the series ever explored. I have returned to it in my own life more times than I care to count, in situations far less dramatic than a formal grievance hearing, and each time the arithmetic feels painfully familiar. The absence of immediate institutional support is not portrayed as active malice so much as a kind of structural indifference. The university has procedures, it also has a popular professor whose classes fill easily and whose charm has become part of the campus brand. Between those two realities, the young woman's account must find whatever space it can. The script does not need to lecture on power dynamics, it simply allows the ordinary mechanisms of reputation to do their quiet work. By the time Sylvia appears as a potential witness, the audience already understands how heavily the scales are weighted. What stays with me most is the way Barbara's body language in these scenes seems to carry two simultaneous truths: the determination to proceed and the wish that the entire matter could simply dissolve. That divided posture feels more accurate to the lived experience of such moments than any single note of heroic resolve. She is not yet the confident activist later decades would prefer to imagine. She is a 19-year-old who has discovered that the adult world is more interested in preserving its comforts than in examining its blind spots. I think of the many women of my mother's generation who watched this episode in real time and recognized with varying degrees of clarity the outlines of their own unspoken histories. The series never claimed to invent the problem. It simply refused to look away from the ordinary ways the problem arranged itself in kitchens and faculty offices and dormitory hallways. The complaint Barbara files is therefore not only a personal act. It is a small disruption in a much larger pattern of arranged silences. That the disruption costs her more, at least in the short term, than it costs the man she accuses is the bitter education the episode insists upon. Even now, decades later, the sequence retains its power to unsettle because it refuses the consolation of easy resolution. The grievance committee has not yet spoken. The popular professor still walks the campus with his reputation largely intact. Barbara has only the fragile knowledge that she has refused to remain quiet and the equally fragile hope that refusal might eventually matter. The silence that follows her out of the professor's office has been broken. Yet it has not been replaced by any reliable form of institutional hearing. In that gap between speech and consequence, the episode locates its most lasting and uncomfortable truth. The fear that settles over the household is not melodramatic. It is the practical fear of people who understand that systems designed to adjudicate such claims often end by protecting the system itself. Anne's determination, Schneider's awkward loyalty, Barbara's reluctant resolve, all of them exist inside that knowledge. The complaint becomes both necessary and insufficient at once. That double awareness is what continues to make the sequence feel less like a period piece, and more like a mirror that still reflects with uncomfortable accuracy certain rooms we have not entirely left behind. I have never been able to watch the scene with Sylvia without feeling a complicated mixture of recognition and sorrow that settles somewhere behind the ribs. It is not the sorrow of simple villainy, it is the deeper with sidens datens every porten 17 stage. More ordinary sorrow of watching one young woman calculate the precise distance between solidarity and survival and then choose the shorter, safer path. Sylvia enters the story already carrying the weight of her own quiet arrangement with Professor Barr. When Barbara reaches for her as a potential witness, the script allows us to see with almost clinical clarity how thoroughly the machinery of self-preservation can override every impulse toward shared truth. The first time I encountered this sequence, I was still young enough to believe that the right words spoken with enough urgency could summon courage in another person. Barbara's appeal is straightforward and almost pure in its logic. If the two of them come forward together, they will have a case that neither could sustain alone. The mathematics of testimony seem on the surface unassailable, yet Sylvia's face, even in the limited visual language of a 1970s sitcom, begins to close long before her mouth delivers the refusal. I have seen that closing in real rooms more times than I care to remember. The slight shift in posture, the eyes that look everywhere except at the person making the request, the voice that softens into the register of apology while the content of the speech remains absolute. "I'm a senior and I'm not doing very well," she says. "I've got to have those grades to graduate." The sentences are plain, almost bureaucratic in their honesty. They do not attempt to dress the decision in principle. Sylvia does not claim that nothing happened. She does not invent an alternative narrative in which the professor's behavior was merely misunderstood. She simply states the terms of her own dependency. The grades are not an abstract academic matter. They are the final barrier between her and the life she has already begun to imagine on the other side of commencement. To jeopardize them is to risk everything she has already endured in order to reach this point. The script does not judge her for the calculation. It simply lets the calculation stand in the room between the two women until its cold arithmetic becomes impossible to ignore. I think often of the particular vulnerability of the senior year in that era. For many young women, especially those without substantial family resources or social capital, the diploma was not merely a credential. It was a narrow bridge across an economic landscape that still offered limited and precarious footholds. Sylvia's fear is therefore not abstract. It is the fear of someone who has already paid a private price and is now being asked to pay a public one as well. When she admits, almost in passing, that she went along with Bar, the confession arrives without theatrical emphasis. The phrase itself is devastating in its casualness. Went along with carries the entire history of compromised consent, of calculated endurance, of the small daily negotiations by which a person remains inside a system that has already marked her as available. Barbara's response is a mixture of disbelief and pleading that feels painfully familiar. She has not yet fully absorbed the lesson that shared injury does not automatically produce shared risk. The hope that another woman who has experienced the same pressure will automatically stand beside her is one of the more durable and more frequently disappointed expectations of that period. I remember conversations among friends in the early 1980s in which the same hope was repeatedly tested and repeatedly found wanting. The reasons varied: career, reputation, the simple desire to finish and leave, but the pattern remained constant. Solidarity, it turned out, was a luxury that not everyone could afford in equal measure. The script allows Sylvia a moment of genuine regret. If I thought we had a chance, she begins, and the conditional tense does a great deal of quiet work. She is not claiming indifference, she is claiming a realistic assessment of the odds. The popular professor, the absence of corroborating evidence, the institutional preference for reputation over disruption, all of these factors have already been weighed. In her accounting, the chance of success is too small to justify the personal cost. When she finally says she just wants to graduate and get on with her life and to hell with the next girl that comes along, the cruelty of the line is tempered by its exhausted honesty. She is not proud of the choice. She is simply finished with the possibility of further sacrifice. What lingers for me is the way the scene refuses to grant either woman an uncomplicated moral victory. Barbara's determination is real, yet it is also at this stage still partly fueled by the belief that truth alone might be sufficient. Sylvia's refusal is self-protective, yet it is also the product of an education in power that began earlier and cut deeper than Barbara's single encounter. The two young women stand on opposite sides of a calculation that the larger culture has made almost inevitable. Institutions that allow such arrangements to continue do not need to issue explicit threats, they only need to make the cost of speaking higher than the cost of remaining silent. I find myself returning to the domestic setting in which Barbara later reports Sylvia's initial agreement and then her collapse. The apartment with its ordinary clutter and its familiar voices becomes a kind of echo chamber for the larger disappointment. Anne's momentary hope, Schneider's awkward attempts at encouragement, all of them exist inside the knowledge that a second voice would have changed the arithmetic of the coming hearing. When that voice is withdrawn, the isolation around Barbara intensifies. The script does not need to underline the point. The empty space where Sylvia's testimony might have been is eloquent enough. There is a particular ache in watching Barbara try to hold on to the possibility of alliance even as it dissolves. Her repeated appeals, "We do if we back each other up, wouldn't it be great to stop him?" carry the residual optimism of someone who still believes that shared experience can overcome structural imbalance. Sylvia's final withdrawal is not dramatic, it is almost administrative in its finality. She will not testify. She does not know what she could say that would help. The language of helplessness becomes the language of refusal. I have heard versions of that language in many different contexts over the years, and each time it leaves the same metallic taste. The cultural moment in which this scene was first broadcast still carried a strong undercurrent of individual responsibility. Young women were frequently encouraged to manage male attention through personal vigilance rather than through collective demand for institutional change. Sylvia's decision fits inside that framework even as it exposes its limitations. She has managed her own situation by compliance. She is now being asked to abandon the strategy that has, however costly, allowed her to remain on the path toward graduation. The request asks her to trade a private survival mechanism for a public principle whose success is far from guaranteed. That the trade feels impossible to her is less a failure of character than a measure of how thoroughly the surrounding system has taught her the value of self-protection. I think of the many later narratives that would prefer Sylvia to discover sudden courage to place the needs of the next girl above her own carefully defended future. The series declines that consolation. It allows her to remain what she is, a young woman who has already paid and is unwilling to pay again. The refusal is therefore not an aberration, it is a logical outcome of the conditions the episode has already established. Professor Barr's power does not reside solely in his ability to touch or to threaten. It resides equally in his ability to make the cost of resistance higher than most individuals can sustain alone. When Barbara later faces the professor without Sylvia's support, the absence is palpable. The promised witness has become another form of silence. That silence is different from the institutional silence that surrounds the original complaint. It is more intimate and in some ways more wounding. It is the silence of someone who knows the truth and has decided that the truth is not worth the risk. I have carried the weight of similar silences in my own history, friendships that could not bear the strain of certain disclosures, colleagues who chose professional safety over inconvenient loyalty. Each time I return to this scene, I feel the old recognition settle in again. The script's refusal to punish Sylvia with narrative condemnation is one of its more disciplined choices. She is not made into a cautionary figure or a simple coward. She is allowed to exit the story, having protected the narrow future she has managed to construct. The cost of that protection is left to the audience to calculate. For Barbara, the cost is immediate and practical. She must proceed with only her own word against the word of a man the campus prefers to believe. For Sylvia, the cost is deferred and largely internal, the knowledge that she has chosen survival over the possibility of preventing further harm. Both costs feel real, neither is presented as easily resolved. Even now, when I consider the larger arc of the series, this moment stands as one of its clearest-eyed examinations of the limits of sisterhood under pressure. The language of collective support was already circulating in the culture, yet the material conditions under which many young women lived made such support intermittently impossible. Sylvia's refusal is the place where that contradiction becomes visible. She does not reject the principle, she simply cannot afford its current price. The distinction is important. It keeps the scene from collapsing into easy moralism and allows it to retain the unresolved tension that still feels accurate decades later. The final image I carry from the sequence is not of confrontation but of quiet recalibration. Barbara must adjust her expectations of what shared experience can accomplish. Sylvia must live with the knowledge of the choice she has made. Between them stands the figure of the professor, largely untouched, still protected by the very system that made their different calculations necessary. The episode does not offer a comforting resolution because none was available. It simply records the moment when one young woman's need for safety overrides another's need for corroboration, and then allows the consequences of that override to unfold in the ordinary rooms where such consequences have always unfolded. That restraint is what continues to make the scene difficult and necessary. It refuses the fantasy that courage is evenly distributed or that the desire to protect the next girl will automatically overcome the desire to protect one's own hard-won place in line. In the gap between those two desires, the series locates a truth that remains for me one of its most enduring and least comforting insights. The moment Schneider announces that he has trapped Professor Barr between the third and fourth floors remains one of the purest expressions of protective improvisation the series ever allowed itself. I can still hear the particular satisfaction in his voice, the almost boyish pride of a man who has finally found a mechanical solution to a moral problem. The elevator becomes for a few suspended minutes a vertical holding cell, and the image of the popular professor stuck between floors feels like a small temporary correction of the imbalance that has governed every previous scene. Yet, what follows once Barr is brought into the apartment is not the simple triumph of that mechanical justice. It is something quieter, more complicated, and far more revealing of the emotional architecture Anne Romano has constructed around her daughter's injury. I have always been struck by the way Anne enters this confrontation already carrying two simultaneous imperatives. She must protect Barbara, and she must also keep the encounter from exploding into the kind of uncontrolled scene that would later be used against them. The controlled fury she displays is therefore not the absence of rage, it is rage that has been forced through a narrow channel of strategy and maternal calculation. Watching her now decades after the original broadcast, I recognize the posture from rooms in my own family history, the way a mother can stand very still while every muscle under the skin is already in motion. The stillness is the performance, the motion is the truth. Barr arrives with the practiced mildness of a man who has spent years converting potential conflict into manageable misunderstanding. He speaks of kidding around, of not meaning anything by it, of the terrible mistake it would be to take the matter to a grievance committee. The language is designed to reframe the entire episode as a failure of interpretation rather than a failure of conduct. I kid around a lot, but I don't mean anything by it. The sentence is almost elegant in its evasiveness. It places the burden of meaning back onto the listener. If the listener felt threatened, the fault lies in the listening. I have heard versions of that sentence in faculty lounges and office corridors and late-night conversations long after the series ended, and each time it carries the same soft violence, the refusal to allow the other person's and see the stags and faculty office carry-ins and faculty experience to stand as evidence. Anne's response is measured to the point of severity. She does not raise her voice. She does not permit the conversation to drift into the abstract. When Barr offers the improved grade as a way to make the problem disappear, she allows Barbara the space to reject the offer herself. The rejection is clean and immediate. The grade was never the point. The point was the terms on which the grade was made available. By letting her daughter speak the refusal, Anne accomplishes two things at once. She affirms Barbara's agency, and she makes visible the fact that the transaction Barr is proposing has already been understood and declined. The turn that follows is more dangerous. Barr shifts from conciliation to threat with a smoothness that suggests long practice. He will tell the grievance committee the truth, that Barbara came to him wanting a better grade and said she would do anything to get it. The reinterpretation is swift and almost elegant in its cruelty. The student's eagerness becomes evidence of invitation. The professor's hands on her shoulders become in this new accounting either non-existent or misremembered. I have watched this particular rhetorical move across many different contexts, and it never loses its power to unsettle. It is the move that converts the vulnerable party's own words into the instrument of her discrediting. What Anne does next has always felt to me like one of the series' most precise observations of maternal power under constraint. She does not attempt to match Barr's institutional language. She simply removes the conversation from the register in which he is most comfortable. You are not talking to any committee now. You are talking to Barbara's mother. The sentence reorders the room. The grievance process, the campus reputation, the careful dance of implication and denial, all of it is temporarily set aside. What remains is the older, more elemental confrontation between a man who has touched a young woman and the woman who raised her. Schneider is ordered out, the space contracts. The performance of academic concern is no longer useful. I think often of the particular quality of Anne's anger in this moment. It is not theatrical. It does not require raised volume or dramatic gesture. It is the anger of someone who has already calculated the limited tools available to her and has decided to use the one that cannot be easily dismissed, the moral authority of the parent who was not in the room when the injury occurred, who now refuses to pretend the injury is negotiable. When she calls Barr a beaut for parading around like a concerned academic while using his position for private satisfaction, the language is deliberately unpolished. It strips away the professional veneer and names the behavior in the vernacular of ordinary contempt. That shift in register is itself a form of power. It refuses to meet the professor on the ground he has prepared. The arrival of Sylvia at this precise juncture feels almost cruel in its timing. Barbara has just begun to believe that a second voice might alter the balance. Sylvia's presence is announced with hope, then the hope collapses in real time. The young woman who had agreed, however hesitantly, to testify now recalibrates in the actual presence of the man whose grades she still needs. Her language becomes careful distancing, almost administrative. She and the professor have a friendly relationship. He has worked hard to help her graduate. She does not know what she could testify to that would help Barbara. Each sentence is a small act of self-extraction from the alliance that had briefly seemed possible. I have never been able to watch Sylvia's retreat without feeling the complicated sympathy the series refuses to simplify. She is not a villain. She is a senior who has already paid a private price and has decided she cannot afford a public one. The moment she withdraws, the arithmetic of the coming hearing changes decisively. Barbara is left with her own word against the word of a man the campus prefers to believe, and with the additional knowledge that another woman who shared the injury has chosen silence. That secondary injury, the loss of the expected witness, lands with a force that the original touch, for all its violation, did not fully achieve. It is the injury of abandoned solidarity, and it is harder to name. Anne's response to the collapse is characteristically restrained. She does not turn on Sylvia. She does not waste energy on the young woman who has already made her calculation. Her attention remains on Barr and on the larger pattern his behavior represents. When she speaks of him using his position to get his jollies, the phrase is deliberately crude. It refuses the elevated language in which such men prefer to discuss their conduct. The crudeness is a form of clarity. It insists that the behavior is not complicated, not ambiguous, not a matter of crossed signals. It is the ordinary abuse of power by someone who has learned that the ordinary mechanisms of accountability are slow, uncertain, and easily managed. Schneider's intermittent presence throughout the scene functions as both comic relief and moral ballast. His threats to throw Barr out the door, his insistence on watching for fast moves, his final physical intervention when the conversation threatens to escalate, all of it is played for humor, yet the humor never fully disguises the seriousness of the protectiveness. Schneider is not Barbara's father. He is the building superintendent who has appointed himself over years of proximity. A kind of provisional guardian. His loyalty is not institutional. It is personal and slightly chaotic and entirely reliable within its own limited sphere. In a story so concerned with the failures of formal systems, his informal loyalty carries unusual weight. What stays with me most from this entire sequence is the way Anne manages to hold two contradictory truths at once. She knows that the formal process is unlikely to deliver clean justice. She knows that Barr's reputation will protect him more effectively than Barbara's testimony will expose him. And still she refuses to allow the private negotiation he offers. The refusal is not naive. It is the decision of someone who has already measured the cost of silence and found it higher than the cost of an imperfect fight. When Barbara declares that she will still go to the committee even without a witness, that she may not win but will make it harder for him to repeat the behavior, the statement carries the full weight of Anne's influence. The daughter has absorbed the mother's refusal to treat the injury as a private inconvenience that can be smoothed over with an adjusted grade. I return often to the image of the three women in that apartment, Anne, Barbara, and the briefly present Sylvia, and to the different calculations each is forced to make. Anne calculates the long arc of protection and the necessity of public record. Barbara calculates the immediate cost of speaking and the longer cost of not speaking. Sylvia calculates the narrow path still open to her own graduation and steps off the shared ground. Between them stands the man who has made all three calculations necessary. The series does not offer the consolation of his comeuppance in this hour. It offers instead the clearer, harder image of women managing the consequences of a power they did not create and cannot yet fully dismantle. The controlled fury Anne brings into the room is therefore not only maternal, it is the fury of someone who has lived long enough to recognize the pattern and who refuses this time to let the pattern complete itself without resistance. That resistance is imperfect. It is constrained by the very institutions that should have made it unnecessary. And still, it is offered. In the gap between what the system will allow and what the mother will accept, the episode locates one of its most enduring emotional truths. The elevator may have held the professor for a few minutes. The larger holding pattern of reputation and doubt will hold him far longer. Anne's refusal to pretend otherwise is the quiet center of the scene, and it continues to feel even now like a form of clarity the culture is still learning how to sustain. There is a particular flavor of professional dread that arrives when a woman realizes the campaign she has shaped is about to be absorbed into someone else's narrative of success. I have tasted that dread in more than one workplace, and every time I return to the Texas Tiller sequences in this composite script I feel it again, sharp and slightly metallic, like the aftertaste of coffee left too long on a burner. Anne Romano stands inside a system that is willing to reward her labor only after it has been filtered through the more acceptable presence of Francine Webster. The promotion that follows is therefore not a clean victory. It is a trap baited with recognition, and the series allows us to watch Anne walk into it with her eyes only half open. The first time I saw these scenes I was still young enough to believe that good work would eventually become visible on its own terms. The script disabuses that belief with almost clinical patience. Francine does not need to steal the entire campaign in one dramatic gesture. She only needs to position herself in the right rooms at the right moments with the right tone of modest collaboration. When Mr. Connors publicly thanks Francine Webster and then, almost as an afterthought, the others who assisted her, the slight is delivered with the casual brutality of institutional habit. Anne's labor is acknowledged only in the shadow of another woman's more successful self-presentation. I have watched versions of that moment in conference rooms and award ceremonies across decades, and the particular sting never quite dulls. What makes Francine such an effective antagonist is that she is not a cartoon of female competition. She is competent, strategic, and entirely fluent in the language of the organization she inhabits. Her knowledge of the product lines may be selective, but her knowledge of how credit moves through a firm is precise. When she corners Connors on the Texas account, she is simply practicing the same arts of proximity and timing that men in the same offices have long treated as ordinary professional skill. The difference is that the culture still prefers to read those arts when practiced by a woman as slightly unseemly. Anne's anger is therefore double-edged. She is furious at the theft of recognition, and she is also furious at the way the theft forces her into a posture of complaint that the office is already prepared to dismiss as personal rather than structural. The cold duck and Oreos that appear as the firm's version of champagne and caviar are a perfect piece of class and cultural detail. They locate the agency in a specific stratum of American business life, ambitious enough to chase national accounts, provincial enough to celebrate with supermarket substitutes. The humor is gentle, but it also underscores the gap between the self-image the firm projects and the more modest reality of its rituals. Anne moves through these rituals with the slightly brittle competence of someone who has learned to perform enthusiasm while keeping a private ledger of what is actually owed. When the promotion is finally announced, vice president head of the new Amarillo branch, the trap closes with a soft, almost congratulatory click. The room toasts. The faces shine with the particular relief of people who have watched a difficult account land successfully. Anne is lifted by the collective approval even as the geographic price of that approval becomes clear. Amarillo, the world's largest stockyard, a view that will not look like the future she has been constructing in Indianapolis. The series does not need to underline the irony. The promotion that should represent arrival instead requires departure, and the departure threatens every fragile stability she has built for her daughter and herself. I think often of the conversation that follows between Anne and Barbara. The daughter's panic is immediate and unfiltered. School has just started. The possibility of staying alone in the apartment is raised and then left hanging like an unfinished sentence. Anne's own ambivalence surfaces in the accumulation of proverbs and half-joking rationalizations she offers. Opportunity only knocks once, the grass is always browner when in doubt. Punt. The language of American mobility has always been rich in such consolations, and the script lets Anne reach for them even as she begins to suspect they will not hold. What she is being offered is not simply a larger title. It is a forced choice between professional advancement and the continuity of the only family structure she has managed to sustain. Francine's final maneuver, publicly ceding the promotion to Anne while ensuring that the victory carries the maximum possible cost, is a masterclass in the kind of strategic generosity that leaves the recipient more constrained than before. By stepping aside, Francine transforms herself from rival into the woman who recognized merit. The narrative of the office can now celebrate both women's maturity while the actual burden of relocation falls entirely on Anne. I have seen this move executed with varying degrees of subtlety in real organizations, and it never fails to impress me with its efficiency. The person who appears to lose the contest often retains the greater freedom of movement. The person who appears to win is the one who must now live inside the victory's consequences. Anne's eventual refusal to go to Amarillo and the confrontation with Connors that follows carries the full weight of a woman deciding that the price of the offered future is higher than the price of uncertainty. When she says, "This is my life, Mr. Connors," the line is not melodramatic. It is a simple insistence that the firm's needs, however urgent, do not automatically override the private architecture she has built. Connors's response, the appeal to business necessity, the claim that he must stifle his humanitarian impulses, reveals the limits of the paternal concern he has been performing. The firm will not bend. The account has been secured with Anne's creative labor as its public guarantee. Removing her now would jeopardize the very success the promotion was meant to reward. The logic is circular and entirely self-serving, and the series allows it to stand without further commentary. What lingers for me in these sequences is the way ambition itself becomes a contested terrain. Anne has spent years developing the skills that make her valuable. The firm is willing to recognize that value only on terms that require her to uproot the life that made the work possible in the first place. The promotion is therefore both real and hollow. It confirms her talent while simultaneously punishing the conditions under which that talent has been exercised: the single motherhood, the Indianapolis apartment, the daughter still in school, the network of informal supports that includes Schneider's chaotic loyalty. To accept the advancement is to dismantle the very structure that allowed her to produce the work being rewarded. I return often to the small domestic details that surround the professional crisis. The chili and beans Schneider produces, the half-joking offers of bowling alley work, the growing stack of bills with their multiple windows, all of them locate Anne's decision inside a concrete economy of survival rather than an abstract debate about career strategy. The series has always been strongest when it refuses to separate the public and private ledgers. The Texas promotion is not only a question of title and salary. It is a question of whether the life Anne has constructed can survive the recognition it has earned. Francine's shadow falls across the entire arc. She is the reminder that competence alone is never sufficient, that the ability to narrate one's own contribution in the rooms where decisions are made remains a separate and necessary skill. Anne's relative failure at that secondary skill is not presented as a personal flaw so much as a structural disadvantage. She has been busy doing the work. Francine has been busy making sure the work is seen under the correct name. The difference is decisive, and the script does not pretend otherwise. When Anne finally quits rather than accept the forced relocation, the moment carries both liberation and terror. The firm's doors close behind her with the soft finality of a system that has already replaced her in its internal accounting. The subsequent scenes of unemployment will explore the consequences of that closure. But in this hour the dominant note is the decision itself, the refusal to treat the promotion as an offer that cannot be declined. That refusal feels even now like one of the series' more radical gestures. It insists that a woman's professional life is not simply a series of ascending titles. It is also the right to remain inside the ordinary geography of her own attachments. I have carried the memory of Anne's face in these scenes for a long time, the mixture of pride, anger, calculation and quiet dread. The promotion trap is sprung with smiles and toasts and the language of opportunity. What it requires in return is the dismantling of the only stability she has managed to build. Her decision to step outside the trap rather than live inside it remains one of the clearer-eyed examinations of ambition the series ever offered. The cost of that decision will unfold in the weeks that follow. The clarity of the refusal, however, stands complete in this sequence, and it continues to feel like a form of hard-won self-knowledge. The culture is still learning how to value. There is a particular silence that settles over an office when a woman who has just been offered everything the organization claims to value decides quietly and without theatrics that the price is too high. I have sat inside versions of that silence more than once, and every time I return to Anne Romano's exit from Connors and Davenport I feel the same mixture of admiration and residual dread. The promotion to vice president and head of the Amarillo branch is real. The raise is real. The public toast is real. What is also real is the geographic and emotional dismantling the offer requires. When Anne finally says the words that close the door, she is not performing a grand gesture of principle. She is performing an act of self-respect so ordinary and so costly that the series treats it with the gravity it deserves. The confrontation with Mr. Connors is staged with the careful politeness of people who still believe they can manage the conversation through tone. Anne does not arrive prepared to beg. She arrives prepared to negotiate the terms under which she might still belong to the firm without surrendering the life she has built. The distinction matters. She is willing to give Amarillo her best effort. What she is not willing to do is pretend that the forced relocation is anything other than a demand that she treat her private attachments as negotiable. When Connors answers with the language of business necessity, the account has been secured on the strength of her creative guarantee. The wheels are already in motion. He is simply restating the firm's oldest truth: the organization's needs will always be framed as larger than the individual's. The humanitarian impulses he claims to stifle are revealed as decorative. They exist to be set aside the moment they become inconvenient. I have always been struck by the way Anne absorbs the finality of that answer. There is no explosion. There is only the slow recognition that the conversation has reached the end of its useful life. You mean I have to go to Amarillo or else? The question is not really a question. It is the last attempt to force the subtext into the open. Connors's reluctance to say the word fired is itself a form of institutional manners. He prefers the softer violence of inevitability. Anne refuses the softness. She supplies the word herself, and then she supplies the only response that preserves her sense of agency. She quits. The symmetry is deliberate. If the firm will not allow her to remain on livable terms, she will not allow the firm the comfort of believing it has simply managed a difficult personnel matter. The aftermath of that decision is handled with the series' characteristic attention to the ordinary textures of loss. Anne returns to the apartment carrying the knowledge that 5 years of labor have ended in a single conversation. Schneider's chili and beans appear again, the same humble offering that has marked other moments of private crisis. Barbara's attempts at reassurance, the claims that everything will be fine, the determination not to cry, feel painfully familiar to anyone who has watched a parent absorb a professional blow while trying to keep the domestic atmosphere from collapsing. The script does not linger on melodrama. It simply allows the small practical fears to accumulate, the interviews that go nowhere, the growing awareness that the network of contacts she once took for granted has already begun to close. The quiet terror of a woman who has always defined herself through competence and now finds that competence temporarily without a market. What makes the quitting feel like an act of self-respect rather than a romantic gesture is the absence of any guarantee that the respect will be rewarded. Anne does not leave for a better offer. She does not leave with a plan already in place. She leaves because the alternative is to accept a future that would require her to treat her daughter's schooling, her own carefully constructed independence, and the fragile web of informal supports in Indianapolis as secondary to the firm's expansion. The decision is therefore both principled and terrifying. The series refuses to soften the terror. In the days that follow, Anne's repeated insistence that she is not worried that the right opportunity will appear, that she is merely between situations, carries the brittle edge of someone performing optimism for an audience of one. I think often of the scene in which she returns to the office to collect her belongings. The vase is hers. The water belongs to the company. The distinction is small and almost comic, yet it contains the entire logic of the exit. What she can carry away is limited. What she must leave behind is the institutional identity she has spent years constructing. Connors's final remarks, the claim that she is being kicked out of the nest, that she is ready to fly, land with the particular condescension of a man who has already rewritten the story for his own comfort. He prefers to see the departure as a form of growth he has generously facilitated. Anne's refusal to accept that rewriting is quiet but absolute. She will not grant him the role of benevolent catalyst. The decision was hers and the cost is hers and the narrative will remain hers as well. The professional world Anne steps into after the resignation is the world of the late 1970s and early 1980s job market for a woman in mid-career advertising, competitive, relationship-driven, and that, still shaped by assumptions about continuity and loyalty that her exit has already violated. The interviews that produce nothing, the former clients who are suddenly less available, the growing stack of bills, all of it constitutes the ordinary punishment the culture reserves for people who decline the terms on which recognition is offered. The series does not treat this punishment as surprising. It treats it as the predictable consequence of a system that prefers its ambitious women to remain grateful and mobile. What stays with me most is the way Anne's self-respect is forced to coexist with the practical fear of insolvency. The two are not presented as opposites. They are presented as simultaneous and equally real. She can know that she was right to refuse Amarillo and still wake in the night calculating how many months the savings will last. She can maintain the outward performance of confidence for Barbara and still feel the private erosion of a professional identity that has been central to her sense of self. The script's refusal to resolve that tension into a single triumphant note is one of its more disciplined choices. Self-respect in this accounting is not a feeling that arrives to replace anxiety. It is a decision that must be maintained in the presence of anxiety. Schneider's role in these sequences continues to function as a kind of emotional ballast. His offers of improbable employment, his mangled proverbs, his determination to keep the household fed, all of them are comic on the surface and quietly steadfast underneath. He cannot solve the professional crisis. What he can do is refuse to treat the crisis as a reason to withdraw ordinary care. In a story so concerned with the failures of formal institutions, his informal loyalty remains one of the few reliable forms of continuity. Anne's gratitude for that loyalty is real even when it is expressed through the same dry wit that has always marked their exchanges. I return often to the image of Anne sitting with the realization that the firm has already replaced her Charlie Doyle to Amarillo, a young man from the mailroom, into her former functions, a competent hire from New York already in motion. The speed of the replacement is itself a form of message. The organization does not pause to mourn the loss of her particular intelligence. It absorbs the disruption and continues. That continuity is what she has always known, and what she has now chosen to step outside. The choice does not make the organization's indifference any less painful. It simply refuses to let the indifference dictate the terms of her own remaining. The quitting then is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a different and more uncertain story in which Anne must learn to convert the self-respect she has claimed into some form of sustainable work. The later sequences with the unemployment office, the ice cream account, and the fraught collaboration with Nick Hendricks will explore the difficulties of that conversion. But in this hour, the dominant note is the decision itself, the clear-eyed refusal to treat a promotion that required the dismantling of her life as an offer she was obligated to accept. That refusal continues to feel even now like one of the series' most precise observations of what self-respect actually costs when it is exercised inside systems that prefer gratitude to boundary. I have carried Anne's face from these scenes for a long time, the mixture of resolve, exhaustion, and the particular loneliness that arrives when a person has done the right thing and is now left alone with the consequences. The firm's doors close. The apartment receives her back. The future remains unwritten. In the gap between the closed door and the unwritten future, the series locates a truth that still feels unfinished. That the right to decline the terms on which success is offered remains one of the more radical and more lonely forms of professional integrity a woman can claim. There is a particular quality of light in unemployment offices that I have never been able to forget: flat, fluorescent, slightly greenish, the kind of light that makes every face look a little more tired than it actually is. When Anne Romano walks into that light for the first time, carrying the residual dignity of a woman who only weeks earlier had been toasted as a new vice president, the contrast is almost physical. The series does not need to underline the fall. The room itself performs the underlining. Forms windows the low-level irritability of people who have already been waiting too long. All of it constitutes a new education in how quickly professional identity can be stripped to its most basic and bureaucratic elements. I have sat in versions of that room. The memory returns with the smell of floor wax and the particular boredom that is indistinguishable from low-grade dread. Anne's insistence that she was not exactly fired, that she was laid off permanently, is the kind of linguistic self-protection many of us reach for when the official categories feel too crude for the actual story. The clerk's indifference is not personal, it is systemic. The system has seen every variation of pride and panic before, and it has learned to process them at the same measured pace. Watching Anne navigate the small humiliations, the hangnail joke, the redirection to window B, the sudden recognition by Carlos from the old building, I feel again the peculiar vulnerability of a person whose competence has temporarily lost its market. Carlos's garlic sandwich is one of those perfect low comic details the series has always used to keep the larger emotional weather from becoming unbearable. The sandwich is an act of rough kindness. It is also an act that forces Anne into the position of having to accept charity she does not want while performing gratitude she only partly feels. The smell clings. The social obligation clings. When Nick later comments on the odor with the casual cruelty of someone who has not yet learned the full cost of his own displacement, the moment lands with the particular sting of class and status being policed even among the recently demoted. Anne's attempt to explain the sandwich she did not want to hurt Carlos's feelings reveals the same instinct toward social lubrication that has always marked her professional life. Even in reduced circumstances, she is still managing other people's emotions. The lead on the StarTime ice cream account arrives through the same informal network that has always governed advertising work. Carlos offers it as a piece of information that might be useful. Nick, already circling the same opportunity, treats it as territory to be contested. The collision outside the interview, the old Pontiac parked across two spaces, the note Anne writes in the dust on the hood, is pure situational comedy. Yet, it also establishes the competitive intimacy that will define their later partnership. Two people who have both been pushed out of more stable arrangements now find themselves competing for the same diminished foothold. The irritation they feel toward each other is partly the irritation of recognition. Each sees in the other a mirror of their own current precarity. I think often of the 12 pints of ice cream Anne brings home as research. The detail is funny on its surface, the idea of methodically tasting one's way into an account, and quietly heartbreaking underneath. This is a woman who only recently had a salary large enough to make such an expenditure unremarkable. Now the ice cream represents both hope and a small private extravagance she can barely justify. Barbara's diet, the jokes about grandma trying to fatten her up, the eventual collapse into shared tasting, all of it locates the professional crisis inside the ordinary negotiations of a household that is learning to live with less. The series has always understood that unemployment is not only a financial condition, it is a rearrangement of the daily sensory world. What is in the refrigerator, what can be spent without calculation, what must now be defended as necessary. The interviews that produce nothing form a quiet, repetitive drumbeat under these scenes. Anne's reports to Barbara, 3 interviews, nothing worked out, she dressed neatly, carry the particular exhaustion of a person who is still performing the rituals of professional hope while beginning to suspect the rituals are no longer sufficient. The phone calls from her own mother with their offers of bingo money and their anxious questions about the heat add another layer of generational pressure. Anne must reassure the parent while herself remaining unreassured. The performance of being very brave becomes another form of labor, unpaid and largely invisible. Schneider's presence throughout this stretch continues to function as both comic relief and provisional safety net. His mangled proverbs, life is like a corral, when you walk through it you may not see the pony but you know he's there, are ridiculous on their face and oddly sustaining in practice. He cannot restore Anne's career. What he can do is refuse to treat her current status as a reason to withdraw the ordinary services of care, the food the mail brought up, the stubborn insistence that something will turn up. In a culture that still tends to read male unemployment as a crisis of identity and female unemployment as a temporary inconvenience, Schneider's steady, slightly chaotic loyalty feels like a quiet corrective. What the script captures with unusual precision is the way humiliation in these circumstances is rarely dramatic. It is cumulative and small. It is the former colleague who is suddenly less available. It is the client who was once encouraging and is now vague about February. It is the realization that the professional network she spent years building was always more conditional than it appeared. When Anne tries to call former contacts with the idea of taking them as independent clients, the mixed response she receives is a lesson in how quickly loyalty evaporates when it is no longer backed by institutional power. The firm's shadow still falls across her name. People are polite, they are also careful. The meeting with Nick at the ice cream company office crystallizes the new competitive landscape. He is already there. He has used the same lead. He is prepared to treat her as an obstacle rather than a colleague. The zipper incident that follows the stuck dress, the jacket, the splinter, the mutual accusations is physical comedy of a high order, yet it also functions as an almost literal enactment of how entangled their professional fates are about to become. Two people who cannot yet afford to like each other are forced into a proximity that will eventually require collaboration. The irritation is real. The underlying recognition that they may need each other is already present even if neither is ready to name it. I return often to Anne's face in the aftermath of that first collision with Nick. The job she thought she had in the palm of her hand is now contested. The man she finds most aggravating is also the man who may hold half the key to her next paycheck. The emotional weather of the scene is pure late 70s. Precarity, the sense that the old rules of advancement have temporarily suspended themselves, and that survival may now depend on alliances one would not have chosen under better circumstances. Anne's fury is not only at Nick. It is at the entire sequence of events that has brought her to a place where a man who parks across two spaces and criticizes her copy can still become necessary. The larger cultural context of these sequences matters. The late 1970s and early 1980s were years in which many women who had entered professional life with the first wave of expanded opportunity discovered how quickly that opportunity could contract. Anne's trajectory from valued creative to displaced freelancer in a matter of weeks mirrors a broader pattern of vulnerability that the series refuses to treat as individual failure. She did everything the culture told her to do. She was good at the work, she was loyal enough. She produced results. None of it protected her when the organization's needs shifted. The unemployment that follows is therefore not a moral verdict. It is a structural consequence, and the script insists on that distinction even when Anne herself is tempted to internalize the blame. What stays with me most is the way the ordinary humiliations accumulate without ever quite breaking her. The garlic smell, the unsuccessful interviews, the bills with their multiple windows, the ice cream purchased as research, the competitive collision with Nick, all of it constitutes a new and unwanted education. Anne is learning in real time how much of her previous professional identity was contingent on the firm's continued willingness to house it. She is also learning that self-respect, once claimed in the act of quitting, must now be translated into the much harder work of building something from the ground up. The translation will not be clean. It will involve compromise, irritation, and the eventual acceptance of a partnership she did not seek. But the alternative, the quiet erosion of sitting still inside the humiliation, is one she has already refused. The unemployment office, the garlic sandwich, the 12 pints of ice cream, the note written in dust on a Pontiac hood, these are the small concrete markers of a woman starting over. They lack the glamour of the promotion she declined. What they contain instead is the stubborn, unheroic determination to keep moving. In the history of the series, that determination has always been Anne Romano's most reliable form of grace. Even here, in the flat, fluorescent light of reduced circumstances, it remains intact. There are collisions that announce themselves with the clean drama of raised voices and slammed doors, and then there are collisions that begin with a stuck zipper and the sudden unwanted intimacy of two strangers trying to free a piece of fabric from a sleeve. The first meeting between Anne Romano and Nick Hendricks belongs firmly to the second category, and I have never been able to watch it without feeling the particular mixture of irritation, recognition, and reluctant amusement that the series so carefully constructs. What begins as a competition for the same diminished professional foothold becomes within minutes a physical entanglement so absurd and so revealing that it feels less like meet cute than like a diagnostic of two people who have both Been recently unmoored. I still remember the first time I saw the sequence. The office of the StarTime Ice Cream Company is ordinary slightly underdecorated, the kind of mid-level commercial space that exists to process ambition rather than inspire it. Anne arrives already slightly late, already carrying the private narrative of the note she has written in the dust on an old Pontiac's hood. The discovery that the owner of that Pontiac is the same man she briefly encountered in the unemployment office arrives with the force of an unwanted symmetry. He is already there. He has used the same lead. He is prepared to treat the account as territory rather than opportunity. The irritation that flares between them is immediate and oddly intimate, the irritation of two people who recognize in each other the same recent demotion from more stable arrangements. Nick's opening posture is pure competitive provocation. He is not merely applying for the same work, he is announcing that he intends to take it from her. The line about exciting new artwork versus words that anybody can write is the kind of casual ranking that creative fields have always used to police hierarchy. Anne's response, the dry observation about cartoons in the Bill of Rights, is equally calibrated. She refuses the ranking. She also refuses to pretend the competition is anything other than personal. When she asks whether he owns an old Pontiac, the question is both practical and punitive. She already knows the answer. What she wants is the satisfaction of watching him register that the note on the hood was hers. The zipper incident that follows has always struck me as one of the series' more precise pieces of physical comedy. Precisely because it refuses to remain only comedy. Anne's dress is unzipped. Nick, in a gesture that is equal parts helpfulness and boundary violation, insists on intervening. What begins as an offer of assistance becomes a small struggle over agency. She can do it herself. He is only trying to help. The zipper catches on his sleeve. Suddenly, they are joined by a piece of metal and fabric, and the professional competition has been replaced by the far more immediate problem of how to separate without further damage. The dialogue that accompanies the struggle, "I can't let you go in like that, just let me help you, I got it. Damn," it is ordinary and slightly frantic. Underneath it runs the deeper current of two people who have not yet decided whether the other is obstacle or potential ally, and who are now forced into a proximity neither requested. I think often of the particular vulnerability the stuck zipper creates. Anne is already carrying the residual dignity of a woman who has recently quit a vice presidency rather than accept its terms. To be caught in a half-zipped dress in a reception area dependent on the assistance of the very man who is trying to take the job she needs is a small but precise humiliation. The series does not linger on it as trauma. It treats it as the kind of ordinary exposure that precarious circumstances make more likely. Nick's insistence on helping is not purely predatory. It is also the clumsy overreach of someone who has not yet learned how to offer assistance without also claiming a form of control. The mutual accusations that follow, who jerk the zipper, who put whose hand where, are the sound of two people trying to reassert boundaries that the physical situation has temporarily erased. The splinter that then appears in Nick's finger extends the entanglement into a second register. Now it is Anne who must decide whether to help. The roles reverse with almost schematic clarity. He has interfered with her dress, she is asked to interfere with his hand. The dialogue about infection, about hands being a life's work, about yellow streaks and red streaks, is pure comic escalation, yet it also continues the underlying negotiation of trust and competence. When Anne finally extracts the splinter, the relief is mixed with residual anger. She has helped him. She has also been forced into a caretaking posture she did not choose. The asymmetry of the entire sequence, first her vulnerability, then his, establishes a pattern that will govern much of their later collaboration. Each will periodically find themselves in the position of needing what the other can provide, and neither will be entirely comfortable with the need. What makes the scene endure for me is the way it refuses to resolve the irritation into attraction too quickly. The later partnership will eventually require a form of mutual respect, but that respect is not yet available. What is available is the clear-eyed recognition that they irritate each other in ways that feel oddly specific. Anne finds Nick egotistical, undiplomatic, and invasive. Nick finds Anne rigid, overly proud, and insufficiently willing to accept help on the terms he offers. Both readings contain enough truth to sustain the conflict. Both also contain the seed of the later acknowledgement that the very qualities each dislikes in the other may be the qualities that make collaboration possible. The cultural weather of the moment matters. This is still a period in which professional women were frequently required to manage male assistants that arrived entangled with male assumption. Nick's interventions, first with the zipper, later with the unsolicited critique of her copy, carry the familiar ambiguity of help that also asserts hierarchy. Anne's refusals carry the equally familiar determination not to accept assistance that costs more in dignity than it provides in practical value. The stuck zipper becomes a nearly literal image of that larger negotiation, two people joined by circumstance, each trying to free themselves without conceding too much ground. I return often to the aftermath when Anne returns home carrying the dual knowledge that the job is now contested and that the man contesting it is the same man who has already seen her in a state of undignified vulnerability. The fury she expresses to Barbara is real, yet it is also already complicated by the practical calculation that she may still need to deal with him. The professional world she has entered, the world of freelance pitches, contested leads, and informal networks, does not permit the luxury of permanent enemies. It only permits temporary alliances and ongoing irritations. Nick has already become both. The note on the Pontiac hood, the garlic smell from Carlos's sandwich, the 12 pints of ice cream, the stuck zipper, the splinter, these details accumulate into a portrait of a woman whose recent claims to self-respect are now being tested by the small concrete humiliations of starting over. Anne did not leave Connors and Davenport in order to find herself competing with a man who parks across two spaces and criticizes her snowman. She left in order to refuse a future that required her to dismantle her life. The fact that the refusal has delivered her into this particular form of friction is one of the series' quieter ironies. Self-respect, it turns out, does not protect against the absurd. It only requires that one continue to move through the absurd without entirely surrendering the dignity one has claimed. Nick's final posture in the scene, the confidence that he is on the right track because Anne dislikes his critique, the casual assumption that the best man will win, establishes the competitive frame he prefers. Anne's refusal to concede that frame is equally clear. What neither yet knows is that the account will eventually require both of them, and that the irritation they are currently refining will have to be converted into something more productive. The zipper has been freed. The splinter has been removed. The larger entanglement has only just begun. I have carried the physical memory of that sequence for a long time. The slight panic of the stuck fabric, the mutual accusations, the reluctant cooperation required to separate two people who would prefer to remain independent. It remains one of the series' most effective demonstrations that the real negotiations of precarious professional life often occur not in formal meetings but in the small involuntary proximities that circumstance imposes. Anne and Nick do not choose each other in this hour. Circumstance chooses them for each other, and the zipper is only the first of the mechanisms that will keep them joined long enough to discover what, if anything, can be made of the joining. There is a particular pleasure in watching a creative mind under pressure invent a language of desire for something as ordinary as ice cream. I have always loved the star time sequences for the way they allow Anne Romano to do what she does best: translate the unspoken sensory life of ordinary people into a commercial proposition that feels both slightly scandalous and entirely plausible. The phrase that eventually emerges, "sin a little with star time," is more than a slogan. It is a small cultural diagnosis, and the process by which it is reached remains one of the series' more revealing examinations of how advertising, gender, and the residual puritanism of American pleasure talk to one another in the late 1970s. I remember the first time I watched Anne begin to circle the idea. She is alone with the problem of a product that has no central identity, no emotional claim on the adult consumer who has been taught to regard ice cream as either childish or caloric sin. The early discarded notions 9 out of 10 New York dentists pig out with star time are properly terrible, and the script lets them be terrible without apology. What matters is the turn that follows. Anne reaches for sex, then immediately refines it into something more interesting than simple titillation. There is something self-indulgent, she says something secretly sensual about the private stop at the ice cream parlor on the way home, the gentle caressing of the taste buds with a double dip of dark chocolate fudge ripple, The language is already doing the work the campaign will need. It takes a dessert and relocates it inside the small permitted transgressions of adult life. That relocation feels even now like a precise reading of the period's emotional weather. The culture was still negotiating how much open pleasure it would allow itself, particularly for women. Ice cream in Anne's formulation becomes a safe sin, a transgression that requires no partner, leaves no evidence, and can be consumed in the car before one returns to the responsibilities waiting at home. I have always heard in that framing an echo of the larger negotiations. Women of Anne's generation were conducting around appetite, guilt, and the right to small private excesses. The campaign does not invent the association between sweetness and forbidden pleasure. It simply makes the association legible enough to sell. The snowman made of stacked cones is Anne's first attempt at a visual trademark, and it is properly dismissed by the client as too bland. What replaces it, the little devil that Nick supplies, is both a theft and a refinement. The script does not shy away from the argument over credit. Anne's concept of sin is the conceptual engine. Nick's devil is the image that makes the engine visible and memorable. The client's delighted observation that the two of them complement each other is delivered with the cheerful blindness of someone who has just solved a personnel problem by forcing a collaboration neither party requested. The forced team-up is the true hinge of the sequence. What began as a competition for a single account becomes a joint custody arrangement neither Anne nor Nick would have chosen. I think often of the particular quality of Anne's anger when she realizes the board has rejected her snowman and embraced Nick's devil under the banner of her own slogan. The anger is real. It is also already complicated by the practical knowledge that the account is now the difference between continued precarity and a paycheck. She can fight over credit, and she does. She can also recognize that the combination, her language of adult temptation, his mischievous visual, has produced something stronger than either would have achieved alone. The series allows both truths to stand. The collaboration is involuntary. The collaboration is also inconveniently effective. The phrase "sin a little" continues to strike me as one of the more culturally alert pieces of copy the show ever generated. It does not demand large rebellion. It permits a measured, almost polite transgression. The little is doing important work. It reassures the consumer that the pleasure being offered will not cost too much in guilt or calories or moral standing. At the same time, it acknowledges that the pleasure is in fact a form of sin, small, manageable, and therefore more seductive than a frank invitation to excess. I have watched later campaigns attempt similar calibrations, and few have matched the economy of that three-word permission. Nick's contribution of the devil logo completes the circuit. The figure is playful rather than genuinely diabolical, a cartoon of temptation rather than a threat. Together, the slogan and the image perform a neat piece of cultural alchemy. They take a product associated with childhood and summer and relocate it inside the milder adult vocabularies of indulgence and secret appetite. The client's enthusiasm is immediate and slightly giddy. They have been given a way to talk about ice cream that feels both naughty and safe. In the advertising logic of the period, that combination was nearly ideal. What the sequence also captures with considerable honesty is the residual discomfort Anne herself feels around the sexualization of the product. When she first proposes the sin angle, there is a flicker of self-consciousness, as if she is testing how far she is willing to go. The later history-based alternatives she explores with Nick Antony and Cleopatra Eve and the Apple Marie Antoinette represent a partial retreat into safer, more literate territory. The tension between the openly sensual and the historically dressed is never fully resolved, and that lack of resolution feels true to the period's own ambivalence. The culture wanted the charge of desire in its commercial messages. It also wanted plausible deniability. The forced partnership that the client imposes becomes the mechanism through which that ambivalence will be worked out in practice. Anne and Nick must now share both the credit and the labor. The early working sessions, Nick arriving too early with donuts, the presence of his son Alex, the arguments over whether the sin motif should be retained or softened, are less about ice cream than about two people learning the limits of each other's tolerance. Anne's irritation at having her morning colonized, her space invaded, her process interrupted, is the irritation of a woman who has only recently reclaimed a fragile autonomy and now finds it compromised again. Nick's assumption that the work will happen on his preferred schedule is the assumption of someone who has not yet had to negotiate the domestic constraints that shape Anne's days. I return often to the moment when the client declares that the two of them will make a great team. The declaration is delivered with the cheerful finality of a decision already made. Anne's repeated echo of the word team carries the full weight of her resistance. She has not asked for a team. She has asked for an account. What she has received is a collaborator she finds aggravating and a division of credit she finds insulting. The practical reality, however, is already asserting itself. The money is necessary. The work is now joint. The only remaining question is how much of her original vision she will be able to protect inside the new arrangement. The larger cultural conversation the campaign joins is the one about women's relationship to appetite and permission. By framing ice cream as a small private sin, Anne is also framing a form of female pleasure that does not require male participation or approval. The consumer she is imagining is not the child of earlier ice cream advertising. She is an adult woman granting herself a measured excess on the way home. That grant feels in the context of the series' larger concerns, continuous with Anne's own recent decision to quit rather than accept terms that would have required her to dismantle her life. Both are acts of claiming a form of self-direction the surrounding systems prefer to manage. Nick's devil, for all the conflict it causes, ultimately serves the same logic. It makes the permission visible and slightly mischievous. Together, the slogan and the image create a commercial space in which adult women are invited to want something and to take it without having to apologize too extensively. The invitation is limited, commercial, and entirely bound up with the sale of a product. It is also within those limits a small expansion of the language of legitimate appetite. I have always believed the series understood that expansion as continuous with its larger interest in the conditions under which women were learning to want and to claim more than the culture had previously found convenient. The arguments over who invented sin, who supplied the decisive image, who deserves the larger share of credit, these are the ordinary birth pangs of a collaboration neither party requested. They are also the sound of two people who have both been recently displaced beginning to discover that the work they can do together may be stronger than the work either can do alone. The discovery is not graceful, it is accompanied by irritation, territoriality, and the repeated assertion of individual contribution. Yet the campaign that emerges from the friction is better than the campaign either would have produced in isolation. The series allows that inconvenient truth to stand alongside the equally true record of how unwillingly the collaboration was begun. Sin a little with StarTime. The phrase still carries for me the particular charge of a moment when advertising briefly aligned with a larger cultural shift in the permission structures around female pleasure. It is only ice cream. It is also a small commercial acknowledgement that adult women might be allowed to want something sweet, private, and slightly forbidden and to take it without the full machinery of guilt. In the history of the series, that acknowledgement feels continuous with Anne Romano's own stubborn insistence on the right to define the terms of her life. The campaign is a job. It is also in its way another form of the same argument. There is a particular species of professional violation that occurs when someone takes money you both earned and converts it into a future you did not agree to share. I have never watched the sequence in which Nick Hendricks reveals that he has used the StarTime payment as a down payment on an office without consulting Anne, without feeling a fresh wave of the same cold disbelief she displays. The empty office, the 2-year lease, the casual announcement that they are now bound to a physical space and a joint letterhead, these are not merely plot developments. They are the moment when the involuntary collaboration imposed by the client is converted into a structural fact that will be much harder to dissolve. I still remember the first time I saw Anne walk into that space. The room is unfinished, slightly grim, the kind of second-floor commercial vacancy that advertises itself primarily through low rent and immediate availability. Nick's enthusiasm is genuine and almost boyish. He has found them a place. He has acted. He has moved the situation forward while she was still calculating how to extract herself from the partnership entirely. The gap between his sense of decisive generosity and her sense of unilateral enclosure is the entire emotional engine of the scene. He believes he has solved the problem. She experiences the solution as a new and more permanent form of the problem. The language of the confrontation is exact. You stole my money. I used my money too. You own half of a 2-year lease. Each sentence carries a different understanding of what the StarTime payment represented. For Anne, it was wages, the first concrete evidence that the risky exit from Connors and Davenport might eventually produce income. For Nick, it was capital, the seed from which a shared enterprise could be forced into existence. The difference is not merely semantic. It is the difference between a woman trying to reassemble a fragile independence and a man who has decided that independence will be more productively pursued in tandem, whether the tandem was requested or not. I think often of the particular fury Anne brings to the discovery that the check was made out to Hendricks and Associates. The name itself is an act of erasure. Her labor, her concept of sin, her copy, her willingness to work through irritation and early morning donuts, all of it has been absorbed into a letterhead that places him first and reduces her to the anonymous plurality of associates. The insult is structural. It is also painfully familiar to anyone who has watched women's contributions disappear into masculine naming systems that treat the disappearance as natural. When Anne repeats the phrase Hendricks and Associates with rising incredulity, she is not only objecting to a business decision. She is objecting to the quiet administrative violence of being written out of the primary position in a venture her ideas helped create. Nick's defense that he had to make the check out that way, that offices are hard to find, that she would have said no if he had asked, reveals the circular logic of the unilateral actor. He could not ask because she would have refused. Therefore, the refusal is treated as justification for not asking. The maneuver is ancient and effective. It converts the other person's anticipated boundary into permission to ignore the boundary entirely. I have watched versions of this logic operate in partnerships, marriages, and creative collaborations across decades, and it never loses its power to enrage. The person who acts alone gets to claim the virtue of decisiveness. The person who would have preferred consultation is left to manage the consequences of a future they did not choose. The empty office itself becomes a character in the sequence. It is full of potential and entirely without comfort. No furniture worth mentioning, no phone until Tuesday, walls that will need paint, a chair that should not be leaned back in. Nick offers Anne the chair as a gesture of magnanimity. The offer only underscores the imbalance. He is the one who has already claimed the space through action. She is the one being invited to accept a seat in an arrangement she did not design. The physical comedy of the unstable chair is minor. The emotional architecture it reveals is not. This is what the forced partnership looks like when it acquires walls and a lease, a room that belongs more to one person's initiative than to any shared agreement. What the script captures with considerable precision is the way money changes the nature of the earlier irritation. When they were merely competing for the same account, the conflict was professional and temporary. Once the payment has been converted into a joint lease, the conflict becomes structural and open-ended. Anne can no longer simply finish the ice cream work and walk away. She is now half responsible for 2 years of rent on a space she never approved. The practical reality of that obligation begins to exert its own pressure. Pride is expensive. Principles are expensive. The empty office is already accruing costs that will have to be met somehow. I return often to Anne's threat to call the police, to get a lawyer, to seduce a lawyer if necessary. The escalation is comic on its surface and entirely serious underneath. She is reaching for every available form of external authority because the internal authority of the partnership has already been compromised by Nick's unilateral action. The fact that none of these threats is ultimately carried out does not make them empty. They are the sound of a woman testing the walls of a situation that has been built around her without consent. That the walls prove for the moment solid is part of the sequence's harder truth. Nick's eventual offer to forget the office and pay her back is delivered with the slightly wounded air of someone who believes his good intentions have been insufficiently appreciated. The offer is real. It is also strategic. By the time he makes it, Anne has already begun to calculate the alternative, returning to the pure precarity of solo freelancing with no office, no ongoing account, and no collaborator, however aggravating. The series does not pretend the calculation is simple. Self-respect remains non-negotiable. Survival remains non-negotiable. Between those two poles, the empty office sits as a compromised third option that may be the only one currently available. The larger context of Anne's recent history intensifies every element of the confrontation. She left Connors and Davenport rather than accept a promotion that would have required her to dismantle her life. She has endured the unemployment office, the unsuccessful interviews, the garlic sandwich, the contested pitch, the stuck zipper, the forced creative collaboration. Now the first concrete fruit of that entire sequence of risks has been converted into a 2-year obligation she did not choose. The cumulative weight of those prior losses makes the current violation feel less like a single overreach and more like the latest chapter in a continuing education about how little control she actually has over the terms on which her sect of 6 labor is allowed to generate stability. Schneider's intermittent appearances during these scenes continue to provide the domestic counterweight. His presence reminds us that Anne's professional crisis is still unfolding inside a household that requires food attention and a certain baseline of emotional continuity. The empty office may represent a possible future. The apartment still represents the present that must be maintained while that future is being fought over. The dual ledger professional and domestic has always been one of the series' central concerns. Here it exerts its pressure with particular clarity. Anne cannot afford to let the fight with Nick consume the limited resources of attention and stability the household still possesses. What stays with me most from the sequence is the moment when the practical reality of the lease begins to override the purity of the objection. Anne does not forgive the unilateral action. She does not accept the name on the letterhead. She does, however, begin to inhabit the space long enough to consider what might be made of it. The consideration is reluctant, angry, and entirely clear-eyed. She will not pretend the partnership was her idea. She will not pretend the naming was fair. She will also not pretend that walking away from the first tangible asset the post-Connors period has produced is a decision without cost. The empty office becomes the physical form of that unresolved tension, a room that is both opportunity and enclosure, both possibility and trap. The ego on both sides is real and equally implicated. Nick's ego has driven him to act without consultation and to claim primary naming rights. Anne's ego has driven her to treat any arrangement she did not design as a form of diminishment. Both positions contain truth. Both positions also contain the seed of the later, more functional collaboration that will eventually emerge. The series does not rush that emergence. It allows the anger, the sense of violation, and the practical calculation to coexist without forcing a premature reconciliation. The forced partnership remains forced. The money remains contested. The empty office remains empty enough to remind them both of how little has actually been settled. In the end, the sequence is less about the office than about the conditions under which two displaced professionals are required to invent a working relationship neither would have chosen under conditions of greater security. The client forced the first collaboration. The lease forces a longer one. Between those two impositions, Anne and Nick must discover whether irritation can be converted into something productive enough to justify the loss of pure autonomy. The discovery will not be graceful. It will require further argument, further compromise, and the eventual renegotiation of the very name that currently erases her. But the empty office has already done its primary work. It has made the partnership material. Everything that follows will have to reckon with those walls. There is a particular exhaustion that settles over a collaboration once the initial involuntary merger has been accepted and the real work of shared credit begins. I have lived inside versions of that exhaustion. And every time I return to the later StarTime working sessions, I feel the same low-grade persistent friction the series so carefully sustains. The devil logo has already been chosen. The slogan has already been locked. What remains is the slower, more intimate labor of deciding whose instincts will govern the next decision, whose name will attach to which contribution, and how much of the original irritation can be metabolized into something that still resembles professional respect. I remember the first time I watched Nick arrive too early with donuts and a drawing board, treating Anne's apartment as an extension of the empty office he has already claimed. The invasion is minor and absolute. He has decided that the work will happen on his preferred schedule in her domestic space with his son Alex in tow because it is his weekend to parent. Anne's visible effort to remain pleasant, the repeated private coaching that she will be cheerful, that it is only for a few days, is the sound of a woman trying to convert necessity into temporary tolerance. The series does not pretend the conversion is successful. The irritation remains available under every exchange, ready to surface the moment the creative disagreement provides an opening. The devil logo itself becomes the recurring emblem of contested authorship. Anne's conceptual framework of adult private measured sin supplied the emotional logic. Nick's image supplied the memorable face. The client's delight in their complementarity has not resolved the underlying question of hierarchy. Each new iteration of the campaign reopens the wound. When Nick produces another version of the Little Devil, Anne's response is already conditioned by the knowledge that her language has been made visible through his hand. The reverse is also true. His image would be only a cartoon without the permission structure her copy provided. The mutual dependence is real. The mutual resentment of that dependence is equally real. I think often of the history-based alternatives they explore together. Antony tempted by mocha ripple instead of Cleopatra Eve with apple spice ice cream, Marie Antoinette losing her head over French vanilla. These excursions into safer, more literate territory feel like Anne's attempt to reclaim some conceptual control by shifting the campaign away from the openly sensual register she herself first proposed. Nick's willingness to follow the shift and then to argue for retaining the sin motif produces one of the more revealing creative arguments in the sequence. He is not simply defending his logo. He is defending the bolder, more commercially charged version of the idea against what he reads as her retreat into respectability. The disagreement is aesthetic, strategic, and personal all at once. It is also the sound of two people who are still learning how to disagree without reopening the entire question of whether the partnership should exist. Alex's presence adds a further domestic complication that the series handles with characteristic lightness and underlying seriousness. The 12-year-old who must be supervised, who negotiates football game logistics with Barbara, who finds Anne insufficiently friendly, becomes a living reminder that Nick's professional life is not separable from his parental obligations. Anne's apartment is suddenly required to absorb not only a collaborator but a child with homework and opinions and a restless body that cannot remain still. The football game sequence that follows Barbara's exasperated report of carrot sticks, beer lady, cops, and perpetual motion functions as comic relief while also illustrating the porous boundary between the professional and the pompous domestic that Anne has never been permitted to maintain as cleanly as she might wish. The work is happening in her home. The collaborator's child is now part of the afternoon's logistics. The forced partnership has expanded beyond the empty office and into the ordinary rooms where she is still trying to raise a daughter and keep a household coherent. Schneider's interruptions during these sessions continue to serve as both comic punctuation and moral weather vane. His suspicion of Nick, his color advice on the logo, his determination to monitor the situation for any sign that Anne is being taken advantage of, all of it is played for humor, yet the humor never fully disguises the protective function. Schneider has watched Anne move through the harassment crisis, the professional dismantling the unemployment, and the contested pitch. He is not prepared to treat the new male presence in the apartment as neutral. His loyalty remains informal, slightly chaotic, and entirely reliable within its limits. In a story so concerned with the failures of formal systems that informal loyalty continues to function as one of the few stable emotional facts. What the script captures with unusual patience is the way shared credit becomes a daily negotiation rather than a single decisive argument. Every sketch, every revision, every suggestion about whether the sin motif should be softened or retained carries the residual charge of the earlier unilateral decisions, the lease, the naming, the down payment made without consultation. Anne cannot fully separate the present creative disagreement from the structural imbalance that still defines the partnership. Nick cannot fully understand why his contributions are received with such persistent wariness. The gap between their understandings is the space in which the actual collaboration has to occur. I return often to the moment when the ice cream work is finally completed and Anne allows herself a brief private exhalation of relief. Nick is out of her life. The money will arrive. The forced proximity can end. The relief is genuine and almost immediately undercut by the telephone call that summons her to the new office address. The campaign has succeeded. The success has only bound them more tightly. The client's recommendation to the hat company. Nick's decision to show the work and secure the next account, the continued existence of the lease, all of it converts the temporary collaboration into something that now has momentum of its own. Anne's fury at the summons is the fury of someone who keeps discovering that every exit she attempts has already been sealed by the previous compromise. The larger cultural question the sequence continues to work is the question of how women's creative labor is absorbed, renamed and revalued inside partnerships that still default to masculine primary positioning. The devil logo is memorable. The slogan is effective. The combination sells. Yet the administrative and narrative frame around that combination still places Nick's name first and reduces Anne to the associative plural. The series does not resolve this imbalance with a sudden conversion to equity. It simply keeps the imbalance visible while the two of them continue to produce work that is better than either would have made alone. The visibility is itself a form of critique. The audience is not permitted to forget the cost at which the effective collaboration has been purchased. What stays with me most is the quality of attention Anne brings to the work even inside the resentment. She does not withhold her intelligence as punishment. She continues to push the ideas, to argue for conceptual coherence, to care whether the campaign is good. That continued care feels like one of the more disciplined forms of professionalism the series has ever attributed to her. She can be furious about the terms and still refuse to let the fury degrade the product. The refusal is not saintly. It is practical and slightly grim and entirely consistent with the same self-respect that led her to quit Connors and Davenport rather than accept its terms. She will not surrender the quality of her thinking simply because the conditions under which that thinking is being used remain unfair. Nick's corresponding quality is a kind of stubborn forward motion that refuses to be halted by the relational damage he has caused. He continues to show up to bring the next sketch, to assume that the work will continue. The assumption is arrogant. It is also inconveniently correct. The accounts are arriving, the office exists. The collaboration, however, contested, is producing results. Between his refusal to stop and her refusal to let the work become mediocre, something functional is being built. The series does not ask us to find the process admirable. It only asks us to recognize that the process is occurring and that the irritation which still defines their exchanges has not yet managed to destroy the value of what they make together. The devil remains on the page, the slogan remains attached to it, the credit remains imperfectly shared. In the gap between the effective commercial object and the unresolved authorship that produced it, the episode locates one of its more enduring observations about creative partnership under conditions of unequal power. Collaboration in this accounting is not the clean merging of complementary gifts. It is the ongoing, often unwilling management of contested territory, in which every logo and every line of copy carries the memory of how the territory was first claimed. Anne and Nick are still fighting over the map. The surprising thing is that while they fight, they also continue to draw it.